Hey everyone, we're live on the Christian Talk Podcast YouTube channel. What's going on? Episode number
Yo,
97. We got Timmy here. That's not Bob. I'm not gonna make that joke
I
again.
know. I may have his good looks,
I
but
can't have that. I'm not doing that joke again. We did that like every episode you came on last
every
time.
single, every single time I say I'm Bob K. Mertz.
No, let's not do that this time. Because he has COVID, so we can't joke about that. Bob is sick. He thinks he might have COVID, so not good. But I mean, he's fine in terms of like he's not in the hospital or anything. He's just at home chilling out. I'm cool. Thank you for asking. If you're asking me, how are you, Timmy?
I'm cool. Thank you for asking me. You're asking me.
All right. So, unlike Bob and me normally, we actually have the rundown pretty much ready, so we can start recording
Do
here.
you guys normally not have it ready?
Nah. See, the thing is, me and
Well, we did
Bob.
get on at like 7:30, so
Yeah, exactly. Me and Bob don't get on till like we always say 8 o'clock. We're gonna try to get on, but Bob always ends up being like 10 or 15 minutes late. Normally, sometimes he has gotten on time, but normally he's a little off. So then we only have like 20, 30 minutes to get the rundown together. And for some reason this week I had enough. I actually had enough time like via school to sit down and do a rundown. Normally school will be too busy. I feel the earth move. If King's Dominion opens up, I'm definitely going to the King's Dominion event.
hopefully it does. Twisted Timber should be open, I'm assuming, if it opens up too. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm thinking it will. I mean, that's what they normally open up for their winter events. So, I mean, at King's Dominion, you think about it. We've talked about how parks are doing like limited areas in the park, but King's Dominion Winterfest has always already been like a small area of King's Dominion that's
Yeah.
open. So I mean, it's not really going to change much. I don't think. They might even just call it. I wouldn't be surprised. They probably won't call it winter. For some reason, they all parks are just changing up the names of their events, almost like so that people don't misunderstand that it's
Yeah, I
during
guess.
COVID. I guess I don't
It's gonna
know.
be King's Dominion's Winter Extravaganza. That's
Yeah,
my prediction.
or it'll probably be the same name as Carowinds. What is they're calling theirs like Christmas, whatever. I don't even remember. Taste of the season or whatever. That's what they're calling
Uh,
theirs. Well, because for them it's also like a food and beverage
okay.
festival.
Wait, is Copperhead Strike supposed to be open then?
Copper Strike and Afterburn, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
very good.
that's why I want to go. I wouldn't want to go there if they didn't have anything open.
I mean, I still like Carowinds as a park, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, there would be no point in us going.
I guess. I mean, if we're driving by it, I'd say we stop anyways, but
And just sit there.
taste some of the season.
All right.
Uh,
I feel the. All
I'm
right.
not gonna lie, it took us a long time to get this rundown ready.
Yeah, guys.
You have
See,
no
it's
clue.
always the news. The news is easy because it's just like what's going on. Like I can
You
just.
kind of know what's going on, yeah. But the discussion and then the weekly poll and then next poll.
And when you're first starting out a podcast, it's so easy to think of stuff to talk about, and then when you get go further on and go further on, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna say? I can't talk about the same stuff.
You have no clue how many times we went off topic when we were trying to find a coaster logo that we liked.
Yeah, I know.
Our favorite coaster.
Ooh, I am gonna do something cool. I don't even know. I don't think they can see it actually on the live stream. Maybe I'll position it so they can a little bit more. Let's see. Let's see if that works. I gotta make sure that looks okay. And then I'm gonna do this. You might not be able to see it either. Actually, you can see it where you're at. Is that cool?
Oh, festive James.
It's not. It's just I like it. It's not even like Christmassy. It's just like, and I'm always gonna. I like those lights like that. So, thank you very much. It looks cool in the
Very nice.
backdrop. Looks very cool in the back. All right, so we're going to start the show. I'm gonna go through everything real quick one more time. So we got Kangaroo, Paratrooper, Barnyard Curve, and Volcano being removed. Kennywood. I can't believe they're removing that stuff. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if a major park did that? They're just like, yeah, we're just removing 4 huge rides.
Whoa! On Instagram, you can add backdrops to your group chats. What?
That's
I just
Apple.
opened a group Instagram for a second. Is it?
I think it's Apple sound because I don't think I can do that.
I'll try it. I'll look in our group chat. Oh, you can, James. I put it on Halloween. There's spider webs in the back now.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
You can do Halloween, Pride, Love, tie dye, or classic.
I need to see.
Maybe
if
I'll
that,
set to love.
I'm gonna see if that works on mine real quick.
Open the group chat on your the Coaster Dudes one. It's very lovey right now.
I don't see a backdrop, so.
You,
Oh, yes, I do.
what?
Never mind. I don't know how I
Pretty
feel
cool.
about this.
How about this one? Hold on. Did that update? We both just tried to update this. This is not themed. I can tell you that much.
All right, it's not where. All right.
I see the Halloween one. I think.
Do you have your audio up?
Oh, are we not using Craig?
No, I'm not using Craig anymore.
She wasn't. What's the name of the program for
Adobe.
that
I don't know. I've never used it.
Hold on. I'll just open up my Creative Cloud then. Audition. That's what it's called.
I always thought a ground up hybrid at Kennywood would be cool as well.
I think a ground up hybrid would be cool anywhere. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I did think when Steel Curtain was getting announced that it was going to be at RMC. So I thought they were going to build like either a hybrid or just a wooden topper track.
Like Zadra or that type of thing.
Yeah, like Zadra or Lightning Rod or.
Lightning Rod be too.
I hope Knobles buys all 4 of the rides.
Oh.
I don't think we're realizing, but the Barnyard Carve's very, very unique too. That's a very unique ride. And then the House Enterprise, those are kind of slowly trickling out. So I think there's still a couple left. But I mean, they're slowly fading away. Pretty much all, like even Paratrooper is very unique too. I mean, all 4 of these rides are insanely unique.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of like sad that they're just. We might as well just start recording at this point. Holy cow. Well, let me make sure I have enough space on my disk. Oh yeah, I got 23 gigs. Alrighty.
All right, are you ready?
Let me do a test my audio.
How many gigs do you
Well,
have?
I'm gonna test it. 23 available.
All right.
On my main disk.
This will probably take like 1 gigabyte.
Hold on. It's detect. Oh, I gotta check my audio devices. This is why I check it beforehand. Imagine if we just recorded the entire thing and you couldn't hear me.
I'm not gonna lie, Timmy.
Funny.
I've done that before.
Oh, Jill. Testing. Yep, works.
Oompa loompa doompity doo. I've got another problem for you.
I'm all set.
All right. Sorry, I'm optimizing my fantasy football lineup real quick.
Me too. I'm making sure to put everyone but the Eagles players in because I hate the Eagles. Pam.
All right. Are you ready? I know you just said you
Yep.
were, but
Not anymore. I'm optimized my fantasy lineup.
Pam said blasphemy.
Oh, Pam.
I'm gonna block her for
Eagles
that.
rule.
We're gonna start some censorship again.
Yeah, just delete a comment. Oh, Pam.
I could. I could delete that comment, Pam.
Yeah. We'll give you 3 strikes. We'll give you 3. We'll block. We'll delete those. Oh, whoa!
What?
She's getting feisty now.
Why am I
She
not?
sent a middle finger.
Oh, she did that. She's done that before. I'm not seeing that though.
Yeah, you can tell she's an Eagles fan. I feel so disrespected. Oh, Eagles fans.
Hold up. I don't know why the YouTube studio will not load for me now. I can't see anything. All right, there we go. We're back, I think. All right, so we're gonna start this live chat. Nope, it's just loading. I can't look at anything. This is crazy.
What happens if you like try to pop it out?
Oh, there it is. Never mind. It loaded finally. It's just taking a while. Nope. Now it's a white screen again. Oh man. YouTube is funny.
Fantastic.
YouTube's a very funny. It's just funny.
It's hilarious. I'm dying of laughter right now, if you couldn't tell.
I just censored it, Pam.
I literally watched it just go from a middle finger to message deleted. Baxter says bite me. Oh. You know, I was thinking about getting a blender. Especially like one of those ninja blenders that like anything you put in
Baxter
it.
says blend me. All right,
Oh yeah.
let's start talking coasters.
Are we supposed to do that?
That is the name of this show, sadly. All
It's not Baxter Talk Podcast.
right, so we are going to start the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get to it. Are you ready, Timmy, to press record?
I am indeed.
All right, so I'm going to put Bob's message first, and then I'm going to play the intro. So then I'm still going to just do like a regular. So it's going to go Bob's message, intro to the show, us talking.
Okay.
All right? All right. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coaster Talk Pod. Whoa. I don't even know what that is. I've never seen audio do that before. My audio literally curved. It like curved downward. Can I? Is it not? It's probably not on my Yeti. It's probably on some like awful mic or something. Yeah.
Am I supposed to stop recording then? Do we stop recording in moments like these, or do we keep it running and then you just cut it out? I'm assuming we stop, right?
Yeah, just cut it out. Just delete it all. Go back to the starting point.
All right.
I'm gonna test my audio, I guess. Hello, test. Testing the audio for Kosher Talk Podcast. I need to turn my gain up. What do you think of that? I don't like the look of that oompa loompa doompa tee doo. Doesn't sound good. I don't know why audio is not coming through that good.
Oh, the other
Hello,
day
everybody,
I
and
listened
welcome to
I
Kosher
listened,
Talk. I'm testing my audio.
You You just got me like I'm
Hey,
Bob
what's
or
going on?
something.
What's going on, guys? Testing Coaster Talk Podcast, episode number 97 of the show. I'm very intrigued and enlightened, and I like it. All right, here we go. What were you saying?
Like I said, I could tell when like Bob was at your house and recorded that thing for the Drunk Riders or whatever to think shout out because his voice sounded so much better.
I know. I tried to do it in the best way possible, but I mean, it didn't really work. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? Testing Coaster Talk Podcast, episode number 97 of the show. I'm very intrigued and enlightened, and I like it. All right, here we go. All right, that's good enough. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk Podcast, your source for everything roller coasters. This is episode number 97. It is November 8th, 2020. I'm James.
And I'm not Bob because I'm not going to do that joke like I do every single time I'm on the podcast.
And as you guys can tell, I mean, as you guys already have been able to tell, Bob just did a message for you guys here at the very beginning of the show, and that's due to the fact that he's not here. He is sick, as he explained to you guys. He needs to be remaining in your thoughts and prayers, whatever you guys religiously view, or even if you're not religious, just keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your mind. He needs some positive vibes because he's definitely not in a great place right now. So thank you guys all so much for that, and let's get into the actual content of this week's show. Let's start talking about some roller coasters. Let's start talking about some good stuff, or not really good stuff actually. Starting off the show. Yeah, this is not actually good stuff. I was thinking, hey, maybe we'll shift to something a little bit more happy. We're not actually doing that, though. As Bob explained to you as well in his message, he's not happy with Premiere. Premiere. I'm stopping there.
Okay.
He's not happy with Premiere. Oh, man. Palace. He's not happy with Palace. He's not happy with Park. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. Parkway at Ranados. He's not happy with Palace Entertainment. He's not happy with Kennywood in particular because they've decided, I don't know what level management. I don't know if it was Kennywood. I don't know if it was Parkways. I don't know if it was Palace. I don't know what what chain of command this came from, but whoever it was decided in a really awful. I don't know anybody. I've read comments, Timmy. I mean, on pretty much every social media platform.
Oh, it's all negative. It's all like, what the heck are you guys doing?
Everybody,
like,
yeah, everybody.
We're gonna ride. This is awful. Like
4.
it's like
That's crazy.
4 rides.
4 rides. 4 rides being removed, guys, from Palace Entertainment's Kennywood. You know, Parkways Ranados is kind of like the overhead company that, and then Palace Entertainment is supposed to be like their North America division. They do have one park in Australia, I believe, but they oversee Kennywood, and Kennywood now is removing 4 of their major attractions. I mean, these are 4 flat rides that, I mean, 3 of the flat rides here I would consider like kind of thrill rides almost, and then one of them being kind of a family ride. But still, they're pretty prominent in historic nature and in people loving them. They're pretty prominent rides. So you have Kangaroo.
Yeah, they're pretty iconic for Kennywood. So.
Yeah, they're iconic for Kennywood in particular, and because these are pretty much all of these rides. I know some people are saying, "Oh, we need to save Kangaroo," but I mean, all of these rides are very, very, very unique and different, and not they are beloved as well by the community. But there's not a lot of them in the world. Like the Kangaroo in particular, that is one that definitely needs to be saved, I think. A lot of people are calling on like Knoebels to maybe buy and purchase this ride and have it at their park. This is the flying coaster. It's one of a kind. It's called a flying coaster. It's a flat ride, but it circulates, but then there's like one portion of the ride where it actually kind of lifts up, and you have like a sensation of flying. You have like a hill that it goes up, and it creates like a sensation of flying, and it gives you some airtime. It was created in 1962. It's a historic ride. It's a unique ride. It fills all the blanks. It's great. A lot of people love it, and they're removing it. I don't understand why. I mean, I'm sure there has to be some reason. I don't think they would just be like, hey, let's remove all this for fun. But like,
I'm sure it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, I'm sure
like,
there's some sort of financial benefit here for them, and I'm sure there's maybe maintenance costs or something that they don't want to spend anymore. But still, that's like,
it's huge to remove 4 rides all at once and like not give anyone like a last rides thing. Like they really pulled like a Cedar Fair here. with
Yeah.
it's the second volcano where people even get last rides on it. So
Yeah, I
that's kind
mean,
of
it's crazy. That is funny with the yeah, that's another volcano. But Kangaroo, I mean that's a big ride. It's a family ride, but it's a big one that people are upset about being removed. So I don't know. It's definitely a bonehead decision, I think. Barnyard Curve is another one they're removing. That is the Anton Schwarzkopf Barnyard Curve ride, and this is one of only two that operate in the U.S. So after this, the only one left will be at California's Great America. I don't think people will understand that
now.
either.
Didn't Kennywood or not Kennywood, Knoebels, like didn't they find a Bayern curve in their parking lot or something like that? Do you think like that could be the one from Kennywood, and then they just like didn't announce it like before people saw it at
Mm.
Knoebels?
I was thinking that, but people are actually thinking that that came from the abandoned Fun Spot, Indiana. Now,
Oh,
that is where that ride is from. I was thinking that too, and Bob was thinking that. We were all kind of thinking that along on the same lines of that. Of yeah, maybe this is the Barnyard Curve that they just moved it already during the off season. They just moved it up to Knoebels real quick, but no, it's not because I believe they were talking about like the paint on the ride, and it's different than the one that's at Kennywood. So yeah, this is they found there will possibly be another one at Knoebels operating if they get that one up and operational. But as of right now, after this is closed for this year, it'll be one left to California Great America, and then possibly one at Knoebels.
it's just so sad. I can't get it through my mind that like I thought they were doing pretty well financially. I mean, they just also announced that pass that works at like every single Palace
Yeah.
Entertainment Park, right? And now all of a sudden they just removed four like pretty unique, like iconic Kennywood rides all of a sudden out of nowhere. Like I guess every ride in Kennywood's kind of iconic in a way though, because the park is so old. But
Mhm.
still, it's like
Mhm.
just crazy to me that they'll just remove four rides all at once without telling anyone until the park's closed. It's just such a strange situation.
I mean, and yes, I would agree that there are some rides, I think more in particular, that are iconic to Kennywood. But I honestly think, in my opinion, when I go to Kennywood, all the times I've been to Kennywood, the Kangaroo is one of the ones that I'm always the most intrigued by. It's really cool. I've ridden it once. I rode it back when like one of my first visits there, and it's just such a cool, fun little ride. And it really is like one of the most iconic rides I think in the park, just because it's so unique. I mean, there's nothing else like it. So yes, technically every ride technically could be considered iconic or unique to Kennywood, but it's these four in particular are some that are pretty up there in terms of like ranking them almost. I think these would be up there because then you also have the Huss Enterprise volcano closing. Timmy joked about another volcano getting snagged away pretty quickly and abruptly, and yeah, that's being removed again. It's crazy. We don't really have. I mean, we have enterprises. We have new generation enterprises
Mhm.
coming a lot to a lot of parks, but we don't. I mean, a lot of these older ones are slowly fading away. So I don't think we're taking kind of for
Yeah.
granted, you know, these attractions and rides, and I mean, there's slowly going to be like no more of them. I think here soon. So I think there's one at Carowinds. I've ridden the one at Carowinds, I believe, but other than that, I mean, I
Oh
don't really
yeah.
know of anyone locally and that I can think of off the top of my head as of right now. I'm sure there are one that I'm not thinking of that's somewhere nearby, but right now, off the top of my head, there's not one I can think of. So these are becoming somewhat isolated attractions
Extinct.
and like, yeah, extinct, and that's not cool to see. So hopefully, I'm really hoping that somehow they've sold these rides or they're not. I really hope they don't just use these as scrap metal. I really hope that's not what we
Oh,
see.
that'd be so sad.
Yeah, I really don't want to see that.
I mean, at this rate, they're probably trying to sell all this to save up so they can RMC Thunderbolt or something.
Yeah, maybe. And the next and final ride being removed, and I guess I would say this is actually more of a family ride. So I guess I'd say that there are two thrill rides getting removed and then two family rides. But I would think that these are two big family rides for Kennywood. I think these are two of their most popular and most again iconic is the Paratrooper. This was originally called the Skydiver. It's been around, I believe. I think it was in the '60s. It was built, and it has like a parachute shaped ride vehicles, and it spins around in a circle, and it kind of elevates you some. I think it tilts you at like a 5 or 10 degree, or maybe more than that angle, where you're kind of slanted, and yeah. So I mean, it's a fun ride. It draws a lot of families, and it's pretty unique. So it's sad to see that these all four of these rides are being removed. It's just I don't know. I'm not very
It's
happy
so
with that.
weird. Yeah. It's like I saw that and I was like, I remember I our friend Daniel sent it in a group chat and I looked at him like, oh, like he's just kidding. That Kennywood's not gonna remove 4 rides all of a sudden. And then
Yeah,
I was like, I clicked on the link and it was actually on Kennywood's Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, like what are they doing?
yeah.
Like they're really just gonna remove 4 rides without like giving anyone like any like advance notice. Just during the off season, just here's 4 rides. They're not gonna be here when the park opens again next year. It's gonna be so different going to that park. I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, and to think, I mean, this is what Bob kind of talked about in his message earlier. He had kind of started this somewhat hopeful viewing and hopeful tone for Parkways Ranados and for Palace and for Kennywood too. Like he was like, I think they're going to start becoming, and they've realized their previous mistakes, and I think they're becoming a better chain and a better park. And then this just like completely was like a slap in the face. And I'm not going to say that I was totally on board with that, but I agreed that I thought we even talked about like a while back, and this might be it. This might not even be it. It could get even worse. It could get even better. I don't know. But we talked about how we kind of felt through what Palace is doing that something big is coming out of the company. I don't know if this is it, but this is definitely up there because we were talking about they moved some of their offices to Pennsylvania, like their corporate offices. Palace Entertainment moved them to Pennsylvania. They were in California previously, and they've been having a lot of changes. They've gotten some people from SeaWorld, some people from Six Flags, and I don't think this is totally it, but this is definitely not the right direction that we want to see it. So now I'm starting to think that maybe what we see is something bad. I'm starting to think that this might be like.
I'm sure the next thing to go is probably Merlin's Mayhem. So
Well, I don't even know about rides, but I just think they're going to do something weird, like sell off some parks or buy some parks. I don't know what their plans are, but
yeah,
something big's going to come, I think, out of Palace. And
uh,
I'm not so sure it's going to be good, and I'm sure Bob would agree.
hopefully it works on Steel Curtain's reliability, whatever it is.
Yeah, whoever buys Kennywood, maybe they're going to sell Kennywood.
Yeah, that'll be it. I'm sure they're gonna sell it to Six Flags.
Yeah, just stop there 1 sec. That's good. I'll transition from that, but I just need to look at something real quick.
All right.
I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel. Mm. Hi, Jill. I feel the sky in the moon.
What is your mom's profile picture? I can't tell.
It's her old logo for her business. It's like a house, and there's a couple of contractors building on it.
I have it like super small and it almost looked like some weird SpongeBob thing or something on my screen.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Hold up. Never mind. I lied. I
Are
forgot.
you ready, James? That's the question.
I completely forgot the reason I stopped. Because you distracted me.
Sorry. If there's two things I'm used to you saying, it's "Are you ready?" and "Do you like this song?"
All right, you ready? I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
You fell
You're
for it.
you're turning me into Bob here. You're gonna be like, "All right, guys, and we're back," and I'm gonna be like, "Wait, what?"
All right, guys. I'm just kidding. I feel the earth move under my feet. All right, now I'm actually ready.
No way.
Here we go.
This link is in freaking Dutch. Okay.
Yep. You can read
good.
German, so I think you can get close enough.
Yep. Yeah. I'll read it out. I'll translate.
All right, here we go. Ah. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. And kind of continuing along the trend of bad news, I mean, I wanted to get into some happier news, but we'll get into that later, trust me. Actually, pretty much all of this news this week is actually kind of there's like one thing in particular that's pretty uplifting. Everything else is kind of
Yeah.
Either neutral
Sad.
or kind of sad. Yeah. Wow. All
Yeah.
right. So never mind, guys. You're gonna have to skip to the second half of the show if we're being too depressing for you guys. Netherlands. The Netherlands is now closing off all public accessible buildings and attractions. So libraries, theaters, museums, swimming pools, and amusement parks will now be closed for up to 2 weeks. I'm sure that'll be extended. I'm sure that's just like their basis for right
Like
now.
start.
That's their kind of starting point, and then from then on, they're going to, based on where they think they are with COVID, extend it or, point out where they're gonna, again, get back to. I feel like that might just be more of like a preliminary date. Like for 2 weeks, we'll re-advise and we'll relook at it, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah. Well,
two
we'll
weeks
determine where
will
we are from there.
Exactly. I don't
And
have a feeling that in 2 weeks they're just gonna be like, all right, go back to
yeah.
go back to riding some
Yeah.
coasters and go back to going to movie theaters and stuff. So that's
Just
probably just something that they're going to relook at in 2 weeks and then extend it even further. Hopefully, it's not for too long for my Netherlands listeners or Netherlands. I don't even have any friends in the Netherlands, but anybody that's living over there, listen to this. Hopefully, it's not too bad. I mean, it's kind of crazy because Europe was the first ones to originally go back to right. Like I remember Europe was opening up, and I'm like, come on, why is the U.S. reopening? And now Europe's closing, and the U.S. is still open, and I don't think we will be closing down anytime soon. I don't have a hunch that that's going to happen. That doesn't seem to be like a any discussion right
yeah.
now, at least. So yeah,
I sure hope not.
Efteling, Wallaby Holland, Toverland, all those parks that have such great praise and everyone loves. I've heard some good things about them. They're all going to be shut down for at least 2 weeks, and probably, and I'd say most definitely, I can be pretty certain that they'll extend that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure Bob would agree that the safety of the people comes first before anything else. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's a reason for what they're doing. I'm sure there's a spike. I haven't really read too much into why
yeah,
they're
there's
doing
a
it.
spike in a lot of Europe.
Yeah, a lot of
Pretty
Europe
sure.
I know is spiking. I still feel like, at what point do the people of the country get a little upset and go, "Come on, don't shut us down again"? I don't know how they'll
Right.
react, how they'll respond, but I'm sure there's going to be a point. I don't know though. We'll see. I don't. Maybe they'll be fine. I don't. And I'm not going to say that that's my reaction to it either, because of course I want the best for
The safety of everyone else.
of everyone. Yeah. So I'm not going to say that I don't agree with that decision. It's just like, when does the country as a whole go, "Come on, we can't do this again"? I don't know. Maybe Netherlands doesn't do that.
Right.
I think the U.S. would do that if they tried to shut us back down. So I don't know. We'll see if that ever comes to, if we ever cross that bridge. We'll see how the reaction of our country and how the reaction of other countries is, because I'm sure there'll be some other countries that announce shutdowns soon as well. All right. Exciting news.
Well, I guess the Netherlands may be closing down, but the governor of Virginia finally said that theme parks can open at 50% capacity.
50% capacity.
Busch
Yeah.
Gardens is now able to do a Christmas event.
Yes, they were
Which
going to
is
be doing a
huge.
Christmas event anyway, but like right the night
yeah.
before they opened up, the governor announced 50%, and I don't know how that's working. I don't know if they changed anything for this now that they were announced at 50%, because what happened
Like
was
if they got an advance notice, or
yeah, because what happened was
like if they're able to incorporate it.
I don't really think there might have been an advance notice, because what happened was they tweeted out something like about, in the next hour or the next day we're going to announce our Christmas event. Then the governor announces 50% capacity. They delete that tweet, and then they come back and they announce their new event now. So I feel like it might have been kind of like they were like, "Wait, what? We can open up 50%? All right, let's do Christmas celebration. Let's have a little bit more." I don't know. I'm curious to see, and I'm curious to know maybe if we're there and I see any park management or anything, if there was like a change in the event, if anything altered or anything was different. Because
Like if they're able to open up more because they can have more people in the park.
were they
now, so
able to
can
open
spread
more
everyone out
restaurants
more.
open, more attractions open? Were they going to have Alpengeist open, or when the 50% announced, they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
now we can open up a bigger coaster too"? I'm curious to know, because I don't know. I have a hunch that because of that deleted tweet, that just seems like they were like, "Oh, they caught us off guard," and they're like, "All right, let's delete that and let's re-advise and let's
oh crap, let's rethink this all through.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm surprised the Alpengeist is going to be open.
I
don't think they've
know.
ever opened Alpengeist during
I
Christmas, have
never,
they? Because they don't
never.
open. If you think about it, Apollo's Chariot is just like a little bit taller, I believe, and they will never open that, I don't think, because it's so tall. And I think one of the main reasons why they don't operate these B&Ms in the winter is, number one, they don't like to operate in the cold, from what I've heard. then number two, like if you get stuck up on the lift hill and it's cold and windy and like chilly up there, like they're probably worried about guests like getting sick or like getting hypothermia, even maybe depending on how cold it is.
Yeah, it's a
And so it's just
possibility.
surprising to me that they're running Alpengeist all of a sudden. It's like what? I can't wait for these.
I
It's
know
gonna
it.
be getting dark early too, so we're gonna get
Some good night
Alpengeist
rides.
night
Yeah.
rides at
And with
like six
all
o'clock.
the lights in the villages,
Oh,
and
that's gonna be
oh, it's
so
gonna be
pretty.
awesome. Because I know during fireworks, I love to ride Alpengeist because it's like cool,
Oh
like
yeah,
like it lights up the sky and stuff. For now, the villages are gonna be lit up, and even like below you in Germany, the village right below you has like some really cool lights. So it's gonna be really awesome. It's gonna be really unique and really cool.
yeah, it's exciting stuff to hear. Especially that I mean, I'm super excited for Alpengeist. I remember I was looking through the rides. I'm like, wait a second, is this like a typo or something? Like Alpengeist is gonna be open
Yeah, I was.
because normally like as soon as normally every time there's a Christmas Town event, I maybe go once just to see like how the park's doing and stuff and if they changed anything. But it's like I never go for the thrills or anything because the only thing that they usually have open is like Revoltant and Invader. And it's like since those are the only rides open, they get such a big crowd since they're family attractions as it is. So
Exactly.
there's like no point in going really. But now that I mean they have a big roller coaster open, there's actually an incentive for thrill seekers to go now besides just for like the family thrills, I guess.
Yeah,
Which is
for
really
sure,
nice.
for sure. It's exciting, and my original reaction too was, is that can't be right. Alpengeist can't be open. That goes against all enthusiast thought. Like we always
Right.
always the initial reaction when parks are doing Christmas events is like, all right, they're not gonna have any of their B&Ms open. We know that. Um, maybe if you get south, like when you get to Georgia and you get to Florida, then you're like, all right, they'll operate their B&Ms, but
Right.
in Virginia and above, kind of, and even North Carolina, it's like they're not gonna operate their B&Ms. So it's kind of crazy that yeah, we've never seen this before. It's pretty exciting. I don't know if I mean Christmas Town's been going on for I think 10 years, maybe 15 years. So possibly they opened it before that because I haven't gone in a long
They could
time. I
have,
mean,
yeah.
I haven't been
I think I
going.
heard a long time ago Griffin might have been open a long time ago, if I
Well,
remember
I was
hearing
there for
correctly, which would
Griffin.
be very strange.
I was there for pretty much all of Griffin, I think. So I don't remember that, but maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I went to Christmas Town much back then.
I may be wrong, so
It's,
but yeah,
you might
it's
be.
interesting to see.
uh,
I'll admit like I'm wrong unlike some other co-hosts.
yeah, particularly Bob and James.
Perhaps,
Oh man.
perhaps.
Yeah. So you're gonna have some really cool dining options. You're gonna have some really cool ride attractions. You're gonna have some cool merchandise, and it's gonna be a fun event. So yeah, this is not Christmas Town this year. It's Christmas Celebration. For some reason, parks love to change their event names this year. That's like a big thing. Like you can't have the same name. You can't just do Christmas Town. You have to do like you have to change the name almost like so they. I don't understand why, because a lot of these events aren't even that different. Like I don't feel like this is going to be that
Right, because
different of an
you
event.
can't open that much during Christmas anyways, so it's
Yeah,
like
during Christmas Town,
with
Busch Gardens
COVID, there's
Williamsburg
like
already has most of the park like kind of isolated off. Like, yeah, I think the whole park's normally open, but like none of the rides are open normally. Like it's a very handful select. So I think that's what they're gonna do with the celebration anyway. They're gonna have most of the park open anyway. You're just gonna kind of walk through and have lights, and some of the most of the attractions aren't gonna be open. But then you'll get to like Germany and you'll have Alpengeist and stuff. So it's gonna be kind of the same event as Christmas Town. I don't know why parks are changing the names of the events this year so much. I don't know if it's just to rebrand them and say like, oh, it's a new event because of what's going on with
maybe
COVID.
just
Maybe
show like
to create
yeah,
like a
maybe
new
show it's gonna
marketing
be
hype
different
for it. I
and
don't know.
changed.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably some sort of deeper reason I would think because I don't really think it makes sense. You know, you already have that credibility with Christmas Town. It's going to be a very similar event and just say Christmas Town. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm sure I would love to talk to park management, park marketing, and see why that is. But yeah, all
Yeah.
right. So
Maybe we'll see Susie Chili
yeah,
at
maybe maybe Susie Shealy will be
where was
working the
that?
food stand again. She
Yeah.
was working the
Oh, that was so funny.
Smoker's Trap House. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the park executives was working a restaurant. She had like a hairnet in and her apron and everything. It was great. So
She was like telling us which line to get in. And they're like,
we
we
started
started
laughing
laughing.
at
She's
her
like,
too,
what?
and she
And
goes,
she's like, what's so funny? I'm
"Yeah,
like, you're like you're Susie Shilley, like you're the head engineer at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and you're telling us which line to get in at Smoker's Trap House.
yeah." She like works with the engineering department. But I think she might be the like the head of the engineering department. And it's like you're telling us what line. You're not even like a server. You're like you're standing outside and telling us which line to get in.
Like this is a
And it wasn't
minimum
even like
wage
she was
job.
just like, it didn't even seem like she was just filling in like real quick for somebody that had to go to the bathroom or something. She had like the garb on and everything. She had an apron and a
Yeah.
hairnet and like it was like she was ready to go. And I'm like she was almost there for that sole purpose. She wasn't there as an executive that day. She was there to tell people which line to get into. Like,
I
so
mean, maybe staffing is just really bad. It was the first day that they opened, so it
yeah, it
was
could
just
have
a
been. I'm
pass
not
on the
even. Yeah,
preview.
I would totally think that's what it was. That's 100% what I think it might have been. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely understand that's probably the predicament she was in, but it's just funny. Uh,
It is really funny.
so kind of playing off of the Busch Gardens Christmas event, King's Dominion might follow in their footsteps, and there's actual reasoning behind that. We're not just making this up. Just like Carowinds, right? We called Carowinds on this show. We were talking about it when all that first rumor started going out. And people were like, no, it's not reopening. All those job applications were for 2021. You guys are wrong. But we were right about that. So trust us here. This is KD fans, pretty reliable source of news. Busch Gardens fans, um, always calls new rides and new events happening at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So this fans group seems to be very
Is very
right.
reliable,
Yeah,
I'd
very
say.
reliable. They're very right a lot of the time. And they are confirming to us that the park Kings Dominion is planning to reopen in late 2020, so December, January, maybe November, for a limited run, reduced capacity Christmas event. And they said expect the small scale holiday focused reopening to look similar to what's coming to Carowinds. So because of that, I would think that we will have, if it's like Carowinds, we'll have some coasters, probably Twisted Timbers and Racer 75, like we normally do.
Mhm.
Maybe Dominator, and we'll have that small. Because what happens with King's Dominion is that a small section of the park is already open. And again, I
Right.
don't.
It's probably gonna be like almost the same exact thing because like they already shut off like the safari area like past that usually if I remember correctly.
Yes, yes, yes. And you have like, I don't even think Planet Snoopy's open. So you have like that whole section of the park. It's just very condensed area. Even if they don't open, maybe they won't open Twisted Timbers in Racer 75. Maybe that section of the park, like Candy Apple Grove, kind of gets shut off, and it's just like Eiffel Tower and like Old Virginia and stuff like that. Maybe that's a possibility. But I would feel like they would open up that. I think they
I feel
have
like
with
they could open
50%
that.
capacity, they have enough. That's enough people to fit into that area, and I think do a good amount of stuff and be profitable still.
Yeah,
I,
Busch Gardens can open half the park, so I feel like it's probably possible at Kings Dominion because it's already a much smaller park as it
yes,
is.
exactly. So that 50% rule that we now have does apply to Kings Dominion as well. So I think that's why we're starting to hear talks of them opening, which is great to hear because I don't think they would have at all considered it without this new updated Kings Dominion this new Virginia update with Northam announcing that 50% of capacity can now be let into the theme parks. So that's exciting. It's definitely looking good for Kings Dominion, looking good for Virginia. We're going to have 2
Yep.
parks open now for Christmas. It'll be almost like normal. Almost.
Almost, yeah.
Hopefully, me and Bob and Timmy and we normally go and meet up for New Year's Eve, and that was a major
Yeah.
point of concern for Bob.
Some
He's like, I want to get to a park for New Year's Eve. Hopefully now. Well, we know I think Busch Gardens Williamsburg will be open for New Year's. I don't know if they'll be open for the actual like midnight countdown. I don't know if Kings Dominion will be there. That might be kind of a risky move if they have a lot of people like gathering up to celebrate New Year's. You can't really have social distancing, but maybe I don't know. Hopefully though, maybe we see Kings Dominion do what they normally do, maybe in an altered fashion because of COVID, but do a New Year's Eve celebration
Mhm.
and have the park
That'd
open
be
at least.
nice.
That would be really cool because
That'd be great.
that would be the icing on top for this year. It would really help this year, I think. Totally. This year
Yeah.
hasn't been great. This year hasn't been. I mean, it's been crazy. It's been chaotic. It's been in some cases sad and depressing. But that would really, I feel like, make it a better
Kind of
year.
boost it a little bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah. I mean,
almost make it feel like normal because that's what we do every year.
yeah. It's we actually got to a decent amount of parks still, I feel like, even with all this corona stuff if you think about it.
I know, we did. We were fortunate. We were fortunate to get to some good parks. I know we're
Yeah.
fortunate that the parks opened back up. I don't know.
Yeah, we're fortunate we don't live in California.
Yeah, one little boardwalk park that just opened up last week. It was the Santa
Good
Cruz
Adventure
Beach
City.
Boardwalk that opened back up, and that, nah, man, California really did
It-
something weird. I don't know what they were doing.
yeah, that's strange.
That was such a
Yeah.
weird predicament. But yes, it's nice to see that we might have two of the two major parks in our area will be open for Christmas. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So getting back into some more, I don't know if this is really bad news, but it's kind of neutral. It's not really good
It's
either.
interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's intriguing because SeaWorld San Antonio, actually I had a friend there when this actually occurred, but SeaWorld San Antonio had a rescue coaster, Wave Breaker the rescue coaster. Not only it wasn't really a rollback, it literally got stuck. It literally got
Yeah,
stuck.
it's not either. It's like it literally got stuck on the hill, so it's like the opposite of a valley. It's so weird.
It exactly. It gets launched, and I have to say, when I wrote it, I kind of felt like the launch was kind of like it wasn't really forceful in any sense. So I can understand like how it wouldn't sometimes be able to make it over the hill. I would never imagine it getting stuck. And the position it's stuck into, it looks like it should be just pulled down. Like it looks like the front of the car could still pull it down. I don't know how. I don't even know the physics behind it. I don't really understand. I mean, I know that there is physics there, and I know that there is a reason that this happened, but just the way it looks, it's like curving still towards. It's curving so this drop is kind of curved. So the train is actually kind of curved in that position. Like it looks like it would just flow down, and it's not. It's stuck. So it actually got launched. It got launched. I think this is the first hill here. I believe it's the first hill. It might be the second, but it's one of the two major hills here on the ride, and they got launched and they just stayed in place. There was no
Yeah,
there was
it's
no
so
like
weird.
it didn't like not make it up in valley. It didn't roll back on the launch. It literally just got stuck on the hill. Like it's
Ugh.
the chances of this happening are so low. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's so statistically improbable that this would happen. It would just get stuck, not in a valley. It wouldn't just roll down, not be able to make it up a hill and roll back down. But the fact that it would just go up on top of a hill and then just freeze in place and just stop right there. It's just so weird. I remember seeing this on Instagram. I'm like, I thought my internet wasn't working on my phone or something. I'm like, why isn't this loading? I'm like, why isn't anything moving? And then I saw like the flashing lights from like, I think it was a fire truck like helping them get down. I'm like, wait a second, that's completely stuck there. I was
I
like,
know.
whoa, this is so weird.
I know. So they did have to call the fire department, and they got everyone down via like a ladder, via like a ladder from the fire truck. And I believe my source, who was there at the time, stated that every coaster in the park was shut down while they were doing this, or at least on that side of the park. So like Steel Eel, Great White, Wave Breaker. They were all obviously Wave Breaker, but they're all closed. Now they just ran cycles of Wave Breaker. They're like, screw the people. I mean, they could
Yeah.
they could run one. They could run a train and it would hit the front. It would
bump
hit
it
the
off.
back and just
Yeah.
bump it up. Yeah, it would just be Steel
Yeah,
Vengeance.
like, or even they could do like a smiler and just like, yeah, I guess they'd have to and like get maintenance to come and override the emergency warnings and all that and just send a train out.
Exactly. Just screw it. We'll
Yeah.
just slam in the back.
Oh man.
That would be great. It'd be like bumper cars almost.
Yeah, it would be like have you seen that video of like the wild mouse at Carowinds and just like these people come around on the brake run and they come around to
Yeah.
the station, they just bumped on like full speed.
Yes, I have
It'd
seen
be
it.
like that's one of my favorite videos.
That is a good one for sure. It is funny. So yeah, it's just crazy because I remember seeing this on and from my friend, and I'm like, that's not real. Like that can't be the case. I don't know. It's just so crazy. It's just so crazy. So yeah, that's what's going on at SeaWorld San Antonio. I don't know if Wave Breaker's actually back up. I don't know anybody that's been there since then. So I don't know if they fixed this kink. If it was a kink, it might have been I don't know if it was a bigger issue that they have to now fix or what. But yeah, that's what happened at SeaWorld San Antonio over the past week. Now talking again, some more sad news. I know I really was hoping transferring over to the news segment from Bob's message at the beginning would be more uplifting, but it's really not. As now the final straw has come for Geauga Lake. It's pretty much over, as an industrial commercial property has now bought the remaining land from Cedar Fair. or I don't even know if it's from Cedar Fair, but they bought the land that was owned from I think it was from Cedar Fair. So yeah, so that's it for Geauga Lake. I think they're gonna build like housing development on the land where Geauga Lake was formerly located at. And some of the concept art I even saw was like they'll actually like the name of the neighborhood or of the like residential area would
The
be Geauga
yeah, the
Lake,
development.
and
Geog
then
Lake Park, I think it
they'd have
says,
like the
with that.
sign with like the park entrance. Yeah, so that's kind
And
of
it looks
cool.
like they might actually have like a little model like roller coaster go right through the center of it.
Yes, I
Is
did
what
see
it's
that.
looking like in this image,
I was thinking that might
which is
actually.
really neat.
I don't know if that'll actually be one of the former coasters that they might still have like part of it intact somewhat, and then they're just gonna do that, or if it's just gonna be like a fake model that they build. I don't know. I mean,
That's gonna. I hope they get GCI to come, or like maybe maybe it's gonna be like a switchback like type of thing where it's just a shuttle coaster. Who knows?
yeah, it could be based on this image. It could be.
That'd be pretty unique. Let me tell you.
I would be going to Geauga Lake, I guess. All right, yeah. So that's kind of that story. It's kind of finally kind of come to an end. I know a lot of people have been talking about this over the years, how there's been different companies looking at it and different companies buying it. But I think this is pretty much a nail in the coffin as it's actually been finalized now.
I mean, it's sad, but it's also kind of neat, at least that they're paying homage to the old park and
Yeah,
stuff
it's
with the
sad.
sign and then the little
It's
roller coaster looking thing.
I think it's more sad for people that grew up going to Geauga Lake and stuff. For us, I mean, it's never really been a
Yeah.
major part of our lives
Mhm.
of our of our coaster world. Really, we didn't even. I don't even know if I was. I don't think I was even close to an enthusiast when
And
Geauga
it's,
Lake
yeah,
was still
I
around.
know, I wasn't.
So yeah, it's definitely not like saddening in an aspect for us, but I know for the people that grew up going there, it's kind of like, oh man, it's kind of done. Like that's kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it hasn't been around for a while, but now it's like it's finally completely nothing but a
Mhm.
memory. You know, the land is gone. It's gonna be
It's
something
like when they
completely
replaced
different now.
Volcano with some stores
Exactly. It's
at
like when
King's Dominion.
it's when Planet Snoopy or Camp Snoopy 2.0 is
Expands to
built.
Volcano.
Yeah,
I come and takes the entire side of the park. They replaced Intimidator 305 with with another like kiddie wooden
or
coaster.
they could just pull a Kings Island and theme like extreme rides to Planet Snoopy, and they'll just have like
Oh
Intimidator
yeah.
305 will just be
That,
like Charlie Brown's Adventure to Space or whatever, and it'll just be like Intimidator 305. Oh man,
Snoopy's blast off or something,
yeah,
and
something
yeah,
like
we'd have
that.
the best. We'd take Kings Island back over for the best kid parks or kiddie section.
That
So
part, I still don't fully understand why Kings Island's kids area is voted so highly. I really don't like it. I really don't think it's that great. I don't really understand that.
I mean, the log
Every
flume's
time
kind of neat,
people
but
bring that up, yeah, the log flume's cool, but again, that's like almost like that's like
it's not really a kiddie coaster or a
it's
kiddie
not a
ride,
kid ride
honestly.
really, yeah, and it's like
Maybe family, but like
even the
it's
area
kind of
itself. I
stretching
feel
the.
like Kings Dominion, I like Carowinds. I think Carowinds has the best Planet Snoopy in the chain that I've been to. I think Camp Snoopy is really really awesome. They just did a new renovation on it. It's very nice. They have some really good rides. It's some good atmosphere. They have fountains and they have nice decor. So I don't understand how Kings. I just feel like whenever I go to Kings Islands, I just feel like it's like outdated and not totally up to standard. I don't know. I don't really understand the hype for that.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I know it's strange.
It's just because it's so large and has so many different like family like almost thrill attractions in it. I
Yeah,
mean, the Woodstock Express there is good. I'll
yeah,
admit that. That's my favorite Woodstock Express that I've been on, and I've been on plenty of Woodstock Expresses at this point.
yeah. The Woodstock Express does kind of. I think the one at Kings Dominion is pretty great, but the one at Kings Island is definitely pretty good too.
I got standing airtime somehow, so I think
Yeah.
it has more airtime than Nitro actually. Like not even kidding.
No, I don't know if I would disagree with that. Yeah, I'm not a huge Nitro guy, and I know you're not either. So that's one thing we can agree
Yeah.
on. We're gonna upset some people because some people love Nitro. We're gonna upset some people there. We might talk about that later on in the show, though.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, Lightning Rod. Update on Lightning Rod is coming out now because some images are circling around the community of a crane over top of Lightning Rod, which would point to the rumors and the speculation that Lightning Rod's getting some altercations. Some people thinking it might be even completely RMC'd, quote unquote. Man, I mean, I named one of the shows that as a joke, and now it's like actually happening, and I'm actually kind of like, what the heck? I don't understand
Yeah,
how that
it's like
fixes the issue, but whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Unless they're
I just
like me and Bob said, unless they're completely changing like the first half of the ride, like that, like when you come, not even the first half, like the first couple of elements that you come out, you take a bank turn. If they're changing that somehow to give it more momentum when it goes up the launch or whatever, maybe that's it. Maybe they're building something there because where this crane is located, we can't really tell what exactly is being worked on. But if it
near
is
the
like,
front of the
it's
ride
definitely the front
or
of the
the
ride.
end.
Yeah. The front and being like the launch, yeah. But that's the thing is you can't tell if it's. I can't even tell if it's like the half loop or if it's the non-inverting
Yeah,
half loop. That's what they call it, or if it's like the launch section, or if it's the actual coming out of the ride section, like coming out of the building, the entrance, and coming out and then taking that turn and launching up. I can't really tell. It's definitely not as of now the back section of the ride where you go do the wave turns and do some
for the hill.
yeah.
So
So I don't know though. If it is an altercation to like the first uh, beginning of the ride there, then I can understand. But if they're just like retracking this with steel track, I don't get how that
how
really.
that makes it any better,
Yeah, I don't
unless
understand
it's
that.
friction or something, because the steel causes less friction, so it would require less energy to send you up the hill, maybe. But still, I don't know why if they'd have to like change the entire ride for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
The only thing I can see
I
them
don't
doing
know.
maybe is maybe they're just dropping in a new launch system back there or something, possibly a stronger launch somehow, or I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, we've talked about what all the possibilities could be, and I still don't know 100% where I stand on it. It's strange. I'm gonna be curious to see. Um, and as a lot of people mentioned, lightning rod merch went for sale a couple weeks ago, right before the park closed, which we joked about being, nothing more than. I mean, just because parks are selling merchandise and they're selling it, it wasn't just selling it; it was on sale. That doesn't really mean anything normally. I mean, Busch Gardens Williamsburg selling merchandise 50 70% off, 50 or 70%. I think it's
It's
50 to
just because it's
70% off.
50, yeah, just because it's 2020 merch. I'm sure nobody wants
Yeah,
2020 Busch Gardens merch. No one wants to remember
exactly.
this year.
But I mean, that doesn't mean that Busch Gardens is closing. So I mean, just
Right.
because they start selling merch doesn't mean any, or put merch on sale doesn't really mean anything. But now that we're seeing
You know
it,
what?
there could have been an actual reason there. There's a possibility that they were selling that because um,
The
this
ride experience
is
is
being
changing.
it might even be a new name. We don't know. I don't know what's
You know,
going on. It's really perplexing to me what's going on with Lightning Rod.
one thing I was thinking is that like maybe the merch they were selling, I don't know like what individual like merch things they were selling are. So possibly it could be like, what if it's the things that said like fastest wooden roller coaster and then the speed. And what if they're changing like how fast you launch up the lift to make it faster or something to try to get you over the hill or do something like that. So like maybe
Yeah,
there's just the stats are
yeah.
changing.
Maybe it was maybe it's just like world's only wooden launch coaster, and that might not be true
It's
anymore.
gonna be a chain.
I mean, I'm not even kidding. Some people have said that. I don't really
That'd
know
be
if
so sad.
I don't know. I can't discount. I can't say anything that's not happening. I don't think that's fair to say anymore because we don't know what's going
We have
on.
no clue. I
Like,
wonder when they're gonna tell us.
I don't think it'll be announced till 2021 for sure. But I'm sure we can get some good angles. That's a good thing about Dollywood. Up on those hills, you can get some decent
Yeah.
angles of what's going on. So if we start seeing track being removed or certain
Oh,
sections being
like
cut
some
out,
steel track or something.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see when we're for sure keep you up to date here on the podcast and because it's very intriguing. It's very interesting what is happening. And now that we see a crane
Yeah.
again, that kind of confirms that something is in fact happening. Some people were discounting maybe, oh, that's not, it's whatever. They're not doing anything different. It's just going to be something, it wasn't going to be that significant, but I mean, it's a pretty large crane that's going to be moving something
Yeah.
pretty large. It's going to be doing something pretty important, I feel like. So I think this is going to be a pretty significant altercation. It's going to be a noticeable altercation that is definitely either gonna improve ride experience, but it could also, might not. For some coach enthusiasts, it might be like, oh, if they change the launch system, or if they add a different element in the beginning, some people might not like that. So it could potentially be a worse lightning rod in 2021. I'm kind of glad that we got on it before any of this happened.
Yeah.
We got one last ride on it for 2020, and now it's gonna be
And
like
then we
possibly a
watched it
completely
try to
different
go up the
coaster.
lift hill. We're going for last for the night. We watch it try to go up the lift hill, and then it just rolled back.
Yeah, we were trying to get
Like
two rides
barely
on
went
it.
up.
We're trying to get two rides on it, but no. We got one, and I'm glad. I'm really, really glad that. I mean, that was like, I believe a couple of weeks before it. I mean, this is the second time this happened. I believe this. We went like May or June to Dollywood, and I think pretty like a might have been a month, but like pretty somewhat soon it kind of shut down for the rest of 2021. I mean, for the rest of 2020. I believe it was a couple months, maybe a month or two after we went. So I mean, we weren't too like if we had waited. I was thinking about waiting and going to Christmas, and I'm really glad that I didn't do that. Yeah, that's what's going on
Yep.
with Dollywood right now. And moving on. Nope, we're not moving on. Is Dollywood still open? I'm confused actually.
Did you stop recording?
Yeah, I don't. They're still open,
I
or did they
think it
close?
is.
I think they close, and then they're gonna reopen for Christmas in the Smokies.
Yeah, I just
Maybe?
renewed
I
my
don't
pass, so they better not just remove lightning rod.
know. I said they closed, but I don't know if they actually closed. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky, the moon and down, the moon and down. Ow, ow. I click on full schedule. Are they doing Christmas in the Smokies this year? I thought they were.
I just clicked on the link to Dollywood, and it just brought me to Reddit, like the homepage of Reddit.
Oh, okay. So they do.
What the heck?
They open up in December again for Christmas, Smoky Mountain. So yeah, they're closed right now. So that was
Okay.
Right to say. All right. We actually did a pretty good long news segment there. I'm glad.
I talked. Are you proud?
You did. Not as much as Bob, but you still talked.
Yeah, that's because I didn't disagree with you.
Well, James, yeah, I know he would argue. He would. I don't know what he thinks is going on with Dollywood, but I don't think he thinks. He's probably watching this.
Oh, speaking about arguing, Pam thinks that White Lightning is a new credit because it got that sealed track in that one spot.
All right, Pam's getting banned from the chat then. Pam, retracking they retract like a foot. No,
You know what I really hope? I hope I go down there, ride it, and then they retrack a little bit more, I ride it again, and then by the time I'll be at like 300 credits just from White Lightning.
Yeah, based on that logic, that's how it works pretty much. That's crazy.
It's gonna be Steel Lightning. That's what Pam just said.
There has to be a certain. I think that's what we're gonna find out. But there has to be like a certain point where it no longer is the White Lightning. That's when you count it as a new credit. Like once, maybe like once one half of the rides retract, then you say, okay, it's not White Lightning anymore. It's a new credit. But as of right now, it's the same ride. All right, you ready?
I am indeed.
I'm gonna just do a quick transition to the break real quick because we do a break.
Transition.
Okay, ready? I'm just gonna. I don't even know if you talk, but if you want to record, you can. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we said we were gonna talk about Nitro, and you're probably wondering why that would come up in the show. That's because when we get back from this break, we're gonna be doing my updated top 40, and Timmy's gonna be sharing his top 40 as well. We're gonna be doing that right after this. And moving on. All right, so
Good old.
that's
VC
what's going on
Public
with
Assembly on
Dollywood
campus,
right
avoid
now.
the area.
And all right, so we said we were gonna talk Dollywood right now.
Crap, I gotta get my top 40.
Going on with Dollywood right now. All right, so we said we were gonna talk about Nitro, and you're probably wondering why that would come up in the show. That's because when we get back from this break, we're gonna be. I didn't hear whatever you were just saying. I was listening to my audio.
Fantastic. It was just saying I used to have a Google Doc, and now it's just a notes on a note on my phone.
Google Doc is the best.
Probably is, but I just switched over because I'd always be like at the park. I'm like, oh my god, like I don't want to work with Google Docs on my phone right now because it's notes are just a lot easier to use. on iPhone.
Maybe on iPhone. On Samsung, it's pretty easy to use Google Notes on there. All right. Are you ready to rumble?
Aye, Captain. I'm ready.
All right, let's get to it. Let's do it. The second part of the show.
Whoop, whoop.
Boop boop ba-doo. Boop boop ba-doo. Elmo's World.
Here's the mail that never fails. Just like good old Mike and Ebb.
Mail. All right. You ready for top
Yep.
40s? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So, is Nitro in either of our top 40s? No. I'm going to blatantly just
No.
state that. Nope. Bluntly, and I'm not. Wait,
For obvious reasons. And
wait. I'm deleting that. Wait, one sec. That was bad. I like that, but let's go back and do that again one more time.
all right, I'm not gonna go back and figure out where I have to delete that from. So have fun editing.
You're going to go back and delete that, Timmy.
Okay. Sorry, James.
Don't you ever talk to me like that again.
Oh well, I just clicked play to figure out where I was at, and I just heard the beginning of the show. You can literally, I can hear your audio in my end. I think it just might be because my speakers are so loud. Let me try to turn that down for you for later, I guess. You probably just have to lower my mic a little.
You could also do maybe I'll send your audio to Bob and he can put it through he has a noise, not even reduction, but it's noise. I don't even know what it's. He has a I can't even think of the name.
Noise better machine.
What?
A noise better machine.
No, but what he does is now because he always breathes so loud. He has like a noise. I can't think of the name of what it's called. Like it's when it chops off. It listens to your audio, and when you're not talking, it chops off that, like it deletes that part. So that way you wouldn't, even if, because some people probably will hear that. Because I know that happens sometimes. So I'll send it to him, and he can maybe put it through there.
Okay.
Maybe you just send it to him, actually. That would be easier than you sending it to me and then me sending it to
Probably. And then him sending it back to you.
him. Yeah. And just tell him to put it through his. Say that. I don't even know what it's called. I can't think of the name of it.
I'll say James told me to send this
Noise
to you
gate.
to
It's
make it
called a
sound
noise
better.
gate.
A noise gate. Okay.
All right. Are you ready for the Are you ready back? Did you get back to where you
Yep.
need to go? All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So does Nitro make it into our top 40? No, does not.
Of course. Oh.
Nitro, I think, is possibly my number 90, 92, somewhere. It's in the 90s, I believe, out of 236. So it's far from it, my friends.
It's down there.
That was just kind of utilized as a transitional point. No, Nitro is not one of my favorites for sure. But we are going to talk about some of our favorites today. We're going to talk about our 40 favorites in particular. I'm going to list off my 40 through 25 real quick just so we can quickly get through that, because we're not going to do top 40, and analyze and talk about each and every single roller coaster, because that would take way too long. Once we get to our top 25, so we're going to kind of, talk somewhat about it. We're still not going to spend too much time on it, but we're going to talk a little bit about why it's there and blah blah blah. The normal ranking stuff with enthusiasts. So we're going to start off. I'm just going to read it real quick, and then Timmy will give his 40 through 25 as well. So here we go. My number 40 is The Raven at Holiday World. Then we have Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags America. Then I have Apollo's Chariot at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Then we have Diamondback at Kings Island, number 37. Number 36, we have Fahrenheit. Then we have Volcano, the Blast Coaster at Kings Dominion, 35. Copperhead Strike at Carowinds is at 34. 33 holds the place for Top Thrill Dragster, Cedar Point. Then we go to Thunderbird Holiday World. Alpengeist at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. The Beast at Kings Islands, number 30. Thunderhead at Dollywood's, number 29. Number 28, Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Number 27 is Banshee at Kings Island. Number 26 is Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'll start off at my number 40 now.
Mm-hmm.
So at 40, I have Steel Force. Then right above that, I have Diamondback at Kings Island. And then 38 is I have Hulk at, I think it's Islands of Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And then above that, I have Accelerator at 37. 36, I have just a little bit better of an Intimate Accelerator Coaster, Top Thrill Dragster. Then above that, I have Banshee, which is, I'm sure you disagree with that heavily.
I do.
And then above that, I have Apollo's Chariot at 34. And then I have Raptor. And then Legend at 32. Steel Curtain at 31. Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm at 30. Raven at 29. Afterburn at 28. Thunderbird at 27. And then Copperhead Strike at 26.
Good list for sure. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'll read off my number 25, and then Timmy will read off his number 25, and we'll alternate back and forth. We did this about a year or two ago, me and Bob. I think we did our top 30s, but I figured it's been a year and a half. We've ridden some new coasters. We've changed some things around. Let's give it another shot. I know enthusiasts love hearing other people. At least I love hearing other people's lists. Yeah. It's a fun.
I love to always make fun of other people. So
yeah, exactly.
I like to go to the Ace magazines in the back. You can look at people's top top coasters. It's always pretty funny to look at. So
exactly. So even if you heavily disagree with us, you can make fun of us and go, "You idiots! What are you thinking? Why is that there? Why is this there?" Yeah. All right. So let's start off. Number 25 for me is Switchback at ZDT's amusement park. That is the Switchback, obviously Gravity Group wooden coaster. It is amazing. It is a lot of fun. It has some very good airtime moments. It's intense. It's really, really awesome, and it's so compact, and it's really crazy how ZAT's fitted into that small footprint. And I really, 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 really liked it. I don't know what it is about the Gravity Group family coaster. At least Kentucky Kingdom's Kentucky Flyer was really, really not all that I was expecting it to be. I really was disappointed with that ride. And then Switchback was like completely,
it was pretty overhyped, yeah.
Yeah, and then Switchback was like completely vice versa. Like it's the same kind of size. Yeah, it's a little taller, it's a little faster, but it wasn't much different in terms of, it does do some more extreme elements, but still in terms of the size and in terms of everything, it just felt like a much more aggressive ride still. And I really liked it. It was really good.
Okay, so for my number 25, I have another wooden coaster. I have Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. I didn't get to ride it before the retrack, so I know people said it was pretty bad and pretty rough. But I know that now it's insane. I think it's the best ride in the park, right? And then I have Accelerator, number 2, I think. But it's just so I don't know how to explain. It's so much different than a normal since I don't know if you want to classify it as a GCI or I think it was CCI before that possibly. It actually originally manufactured it, if I remember.
Yes.
And so I don't know who you want to classify the manufacturer as now, but I know that since it's a GCI, it has a GCI feel, but the layout is so unique and different than any other GCI, and it's just so weird.
Yeah.
And I thought the weird part about that ride is the first drop isn't even the best part. It's the drop off the mid course, I guess, like Apollo's Chariot in a way. It's the really awesome part of the ride, and it's holy cow, that's a really strong pop of airtime off that mid course. So that's pretty fun.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have not had the opportunity to ride. Would love to, but I've heard some good things, definitely, and especially since the retracking. So Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom is what is at my number 24 position. It's a really good RMC. It's my least favorite RMC, though. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's really good. Like most things at Kentucky Kingdom, and I hate to say this, but I think it's overhyped. I think it's really good, but I mean, going into it, I like Kentucky Kingdom as a park. I think they have a great social media team. I love. I'm not gonna. I don't want to bash the park, but I feel like most of the rides that I got on there weren't as great as I was expecting. I was really going into Storm Chaser thinking this is going to be the most aggressive airtime on a RMC and possibly on a roller coaster that I've ever ridden, because that's what I'd heard. That's what like the enthusiast echo chamber had told me. That's what everybody had said, going into this. I was like, oh, this is going to be crazy. It was very good. It just wasn't. I mean, it was really good. It just wasn't amazing. I don't know if that. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's an RMC, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, for sure. It's in my top 25. It's crazy. It's really fun. I really liked it. It wasn't all that I had hoped it would be.
Hmm. So you're not going to believe this, but I disagree with you. I have Storm Chaser at 24.
That's crazy.
This is going to happen a lot, I think. I think we have a lot of coasters in this same exact spot, so this should be interesting.
We share a lot of similar opinions, and we've ridden a lot of the same rides. So yeah, I think we're gonna have some similarities for sure. Number 23 for me then, or do you want to explain your choice for Storm Chaser, or did I kind of sum it up? Or
you pretty much nailed it. It's a really good coaster because it's an RMC, but it's not the best RMC by any means. So
all right, so number 23 for me is Candemonium at Hershey Park. That was the new for 2020 B&M Hypercoaster. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really fun. It's not my favorite B&M Hypercoaster though. We're gonna get to my favorite in a little bit. It's really good though. It's it's up there. It's up there in terms of hypers. I really really like it. It had some the second day we rode it in the back row, I might add. It was very very good.
The better row for those people who think the front is better for some reason.
But yes, that's where I rode it, and that's where I really thought that it was the best in the second day. Second day, we rode in the front again, and I was like, nah, that's not as good. In the back, it was like crazy. So that's where I would advise riding it. That's where I thought it was really good at. I really enjoyed Candemonium. It's a really good ride.
So we're on to number 23 now, right? So my 23 is Thunderbird at Holiday World. It's like I want to put it so much higher because it's it's easily my favorite wing coaster. I've done X-Flight. I heard X-Flight is good as well. But it's easily the launch on that, like literally just knocks your socks off every time. Like it's so surprising how strong that launch is.
Yeah.
Especially for like a B&M that are kind of known for being like more tame, smooth, like not as like exciting, but it almost feels like an Intamin type of launch where it's like super aggressive and like it really catches me off guard every single time. And I want to put it so much higher, but it's just like I like all the rides above it. Like I just like I can't put it over the ride above it, and then it's like I do that all the way up. So
yeah,
it's at 23 for me.
And Thunderbird's one of the rides where like every element I feel like was executed very well. There's
Perfectly.
not any dull moment in the ride. Even like that kind of strange. It's not really a helix, but it's just kind of like a banked turn to get to turn you like back towards going to the right direction, going back towards the station. Even that element's fun, and it feels like you're flying, and it's good. It's not just like a filler element. It doesn't feel like that. That's kind of what it is. It's kind of like just to turn you around real quick, but it's fun still. It's elevated. You go up pretty high. You're almost. I think you might even be taller.
Well.
Yeah, you're almost taller than most of the inversions on that bank. So they could have just done like a small little bank turnaround real quick, but they made it high and a good elevation. So it's a fun element even. And then you have the first Immelman, which is great. You have the vertical loop, which is great. You have a 0G roll. You have an inline twist. You just have so many fun elements on that ride that are so great. So yeah, the launch is great, but they did such a good job of making sure the whole ride was great too.
For sure.
All right, so number 22, a ride that me and Timmy will be riding somewhat soon, hopefully, Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. This is the RMC that really shocked me, and you might go, how is Twisted Cyclone above? How is it above Storm Chaser? That's ludicrous. Storm Chaser is one of the best RMCs I've heard. Well, I would disagrei with that claim, but I would also disagree with the claim that Twisted Cyclone isn't a good RMC. A lot of people say that that's one of the weaker RMCs, and I think in the rankings that I have, yeah, it's one of my least favorites. It's actually my second least favorite. But that's because I haven't ridden all of them. But I have a feeling that if I rode most of the RMCs, it would probably be somewhere in the mid category. It's really really good. It is fun. It is aggressive. It has some really good elements. It is short, but it packs a punch. It's really, really good. It has some and this is one of the only rides in the entire world that I will tell you, at least when I went back in 2018, is a front row roller coaster. And I've talked about that many times on the podcast. So I'm going to emphasize it one more time, and I'm sure I'll do it again throughout the course of the show in future episodes as well. But I can't stress enough how the back row was good, but the front row was crazy. I was just shocked by that. It's a really good ride. I'm excited to get back on it. Timmy, I'm excited for you to get on it and check it out. And I'm sure you'll
so
like
excited to ride it. I hear so many good things about that wave turn, and I'm so interested because
Oh yeah,
it's like
really good.
I've been on the wave turn on lightning rod, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great element, but it's like no means like the best part of the ride or anything. So I'm interested to see how they make a wave turn like really exciting and that type of stuff. Like
Well,
hear
because
all
it's
the
so short and
live up
because
to the
it's
praise I hear.
so like sudden, it is like the lightning rods ones are more drawn out. It's like almost like, oh, we're going up a wave turn. They're very large elements. I feel like the Twisted Cyclone wave turn is a lot more like quick and snappy, and it's just like, wow, wave turn real quick, wham, you know. So that's why I think
Like
it's
aggressive.
gotten more, aggressive. That's why I think it's gotten more praise from the enthusiast community.
Okay, I gotcha. So at number 22 for me, I have I'm sure Bob would agree with me here that it belongs all the way down here, Mystic Timbers. Because
Mm-hmm. Well, Bob would probably say it
I mean,
belongs in your top 5, but maybe even your number
I'd probably
1.
say it belongs number 2,
Yeah, number
right behind
2.
Voyage. But
Yeah, exactly.
oh
Spoiler alert,
Bob, but yeah, I mean you already probably knew that anyways.
yeah, we
That
pretty
we
much everyone knows that with
Yeah.
us.
But I love Mystic Timbers. I mean, it's a really, really great GCI. The out and back layout is like really awesome. I mean, it's just airtime hill after airtime hill after airtime hill, and it makes it like really, really fun. The shed is awesome. I don't know, I'm sure people know what it's in it by now, but I won't say it just in case. But it's just really, I don't know, it's a fun ride overall. It's like, I don't know how much more else to say about it. It's just the theming is awesome on it. How they have audio that goes up the lift hill and they control your speed as you go up the lift hill. That's something that's really unique. You don't see on many other rides. So overall, I think it's an amazing ride. I have it number 22. So
Well, I'm going to transition to 21 real quick so I can also kind of branch off what you said. Number 21 for me is Mystic Timbers. And I agree, the theming is great. The lift hill is fun. I mean, the first drop is really good on that. I love that curved drop. It's very fun. You have some really good airtime moments throughout the entire ride. Some really good pacing. And it's just a very, very good GCI, very solid GCI. It's not my favorite GCI, but we'll actually get to that pretty soon. But it is right up there with it. It is definitely, at least out of the GCIs ridden, one of the best for sure.
okay, so my number 21 spot, I have Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom. People are probably surprised that I have this over Storm Chaser, but it's literally almost exactly like an RMC. Like it feels just like an RMC, even has the same exact restraints, which is like, but I'm wondering if people are gonna disagree with me. This is one of the best drops on a roller coaster I think I've ever been on, especially in that back row. I don't know. There's just something that's so violent and strong about it. And it just like really touches me off guard because it's such a small ride, and it's like the fact that I'm like completely forced into the restraint from that drop. It's like that, and then Sky Rush I think have the best drops on any ride.
Yeah.
I really wish more parks would get these Chance Hyper GTX models because they're super fun and they're not like expensive at all. Like I could see them fitting in like almost every single park. Like imagine if Knoebels had a Chance Hyper GTX, you know?
That would be really awesome. That would be really cool. And I don't understand, why parks haven't really been purchasing these as much. I do want to branch off real quick about favorite first drops. Lightning Run is a good first drop. I really like it as well. I think, at least to me, it seems that like these shorter sometimes coasters, because they're so, I don't even know, sometimes because they're so sudden, it's just they actually have the better first drops than like the big drawn out first drops.
I see something with the shaping or something of it, or something like that.
Because I actually think Twisted Cyclone has a really, really, really good first drop. And I also think that a ride that I'm going to be talking about in a second, Wicked Cyclone, has a really, really, really good drop too. It's so good. So that's really like, for the shorter RMCs, that's actually one of the highlight moments for most of their rides. It's like their first drop. But let's move on, and we'll talk about possibly. Maybe Wicked Cyclone. I just kind of teased that a little bit, but it will be coming up here soon. My number 20, though, is Texas Stingray. Now, yes, I have Texas Stingray above Mystic Timbers. I like the layout more. It has like a bit of compact layout, but it also has a little bit of a kind of, it's not really out and back, but it has those drawn out airtime hills as well, like kind of like Mystic Timbers. And I think it executes it just a tad better. I think there's just as good airtime, but I also like the mix of having kind of like a compact layout at some point, and then also having somewhat of that, like a couple of airtime moments like in a row, and you're going in like a continuous direction, and then you're turning around like Mystic Timbers does as well. So it kind of has like a bit of both mixed into it. I don't know. I really like Texas Stingray. I think it's a great ride. It's a lot of fun. Really good airtime. Really good first drop. I really like it.
Yeah, I hope I can get on that. That looks awesome. I have a ride that's nothing like Texas Stingray at my number 20 spot, Millennium Force.
Hmm.
Quite the opposite of Texas Stingray.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the original Giga. I mean, it's such a good ride. I mean, it's gone through such a weird like phase in the coaster community because at first it was overhyped, people say, and then it became overhated, and now it's kind of going back to like the spot where like either enthusiasts either love it and say that it's like an awesome, amazing ride, or they hate it and be like, oh, it's so overhyped, it's Millennium Forceless, all that jargon. So it's like whatever you think. I have it number 20. I think I kind of like it in the middle. I don't think it's Forceless, that's for sure. I grayed out on the overbank every time I rode it, the first overbank.
Nah.
But I think it's a good ride still. It's not like the other Gigas, but it's still really awesome. So
I won't say it's forceless. I think there are some forces, but it's definitely airtimeless. That's my major complaint with Money and Force. That's why I have it. I have it at 28. I still really like it. I think it's a really fun ride. I love its layout. When I rode it, especially, I got, and that's probably why I actually have it higher than I originally would have. But I rode it at nighttime. It was raining. It was pitch black. It was ERT. I got like 30 rides on it in a row. It was a lot of fun. It was a really, really fun ride. And yeah, that's my major complaint though with Millennium Force is that those two camelbacks have zip zero nada airtime. I don't care what you say. I don't care who anyone can try to argue with me that you do. Like even if you could physically like show me where your people are coming out of their seat, even if you walk coming out of your seat, it's like it's so subtle. It's so not aggressive. It's not. There's like, I wouldn't even say it's floater. It's just like I don't even feel airtime at all, it's crazy because on that very last airtime, the
like
ejector,
Nitro.
it literally is Nitro 2.0. But that's the thing is that I don't feel like Nitro really has that fun of a layout. But I love Millennium Force's layout, so that's why even not having airtime really doesn't really affect my positioning of this
That's
ride.
the positive G's for sure.
Oh, and the first
That's the
drop's really good.
positive Gs.
The first drop does have good airtime, and that little ejector bunny hill at the end of the ride does have good airtime. But those two camelbacks do not have airtime. And that's like the major like points of where you would think there would be airtime, and there's
Yeah,
not.
they look so like impressive and
Yeah, and bold and like
yeah.
look at us. This is the big airtime moment ride, and it's like nope, never mind, it's not. But I do like those bank turns. I like all three of them, or all two of them. I think those are really fun elements. I honestly do. I know that sounds kind of funny. I do like those. I think those bank turns are actually really fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna talk about my number 19 now, and then we're gonna actually travel right back down to Six Flags Over Georgia again, which again we might hopefully be getting to, and talk about my favorite B&M hypercoaster, or my favorite B&M hypercoaster that's actually a hypercoaster, not just the model. Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia is fantastic. It is the only B&M hypercoaster that I've gotten actual ejector on. So that being said, I don't know how it will run when we go. I don't know, and I don't want to hype this up, Timmy, for you, but when I rode it, it was pretty warm out, and I mean, in Georgia, hopefully it'll still be warm out when we go, maybe, because it was hauling. It was, man, it wasn't every hill, but the last like 2 or 3 hills, it was. Imagine the mid course on Apollo's times like 2 or 3. It was like you were flying out of your seat. Like the mid course is really good. Flying off the mid course on Apollo Straight can sometimes be borderline ejector, but it was like solid intimate ejector on Goliath. It was crazy.
What looks really interesting about Goliath to me is that helix. It looks so like just like so tight and like weird the way it just turns around.
The helix is very fun.
It looks so like unique, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. It's just so different looking than every other helix.
Mm-hmm. And even the first drop's really good. And I know a lot of people go, it's one of the shorter B&M hypers, but even the first drop's a lot of fun. So I don't know. I just really like the ride. It's just overall every element's pretty great.
Interesting you have it over Twisted Cyclone. I'm interested to see if I like that better or not.
Yeah,
But
I know. It's unpopular. Well, I don't know if it's unpopular. It's pretty heavy discussion. It's almost like the Intimate 305 Twisted Timbers debate. The
you
two
just don't
major
expect
rides
the
at the park.
B&M over an RMC.
I know
You just don't expect the B&M
that is
over an RMC,
unpopular.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So for my number 19 spot, I have Tatsu at Magic Mountain. Easily the best flying coaster that I've been on. I've been on the Superman at Great Adventure, and then Manta, and then Tatsu. So, but Tatsu it's
Not much
incredible. It's
competition.
just, yeah. I remember the first time I rode that. I remember I was with my friend. His name's Adam, and this was my first visit to Magic Mountain. And it was actually I used to live in California, but then I moved out. But when I moved out, that's when I became an enthusiast. So I went back, and then I went to Magic Mountain, and I remember I was visiting with my friend, and we went through the pretzel loop at the end. I just remember I looked at him and tears were being forced out of our eyes because of the how like intense that pretzel roll was. Like it was just so insane. Like it's so forceful, it's ridiculous. It's like the pretzel roll or the pretzel loop, I mean, on at the Superman at Great Adventure, but like times 100. It's just it feels like forever how long you're getting forced onto your back and like pushed just like forced into the seat. It's incredible. And then the rest of the ride is so awesome too, and the views from that ride are so cool because like you can see a lot of the rides from the mountain, like because you're going
Hmm.
up the mountain as you go up the lift hill, and the way that like the track is situated since it's above you and you're kind of just facing down, you get this really cool view when you're looking around and stuff. And like when you're going through some of the, I believe it's a zero G roll. I don't know. You're the expert on this, but um, yeah, it's like just so cool to see all the rides kind of flip upside down as you kind of like go back into the park from where you're at and stuff. So it's a really awesome flying coaster. It's awesome. So that's my number 19.
Indeed, I've heard good things. I've heard great things about the pretzel loop. I've heard great things about it, the ride. Yeah, for sure. All right, so number 18 for me is Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England. This is the Intamin hypercoaster. Gets a lot of praise. Some people say this is one of the best coasters in the world. I don't agree. I think it's very, very good. But again, I think it's a ride that suffers from bad restraints. But it's also just I don't think it's that. I mean, it's very, very good. And the camelbacks that it does in the first half of the ride are really, really good. I'm not a huge fan of the twister section at the end. It's fun, but it's not. It's not. I think twister sections kind of kill rides sometimes, especially when they're at the end. When they're at the beginning, it's kind of cool. Like you do a twister section, and then you end with some really aggressive airtime, and then it's like it almost makes the ride like have some momentum. Like you're doing some like kind of meandering around, and then it's like bam, 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 and you're like, oh wow, oh my god, and then you end. But when you do the opposite, and you're doing these aggressive airtime moments, and then you go to the twister section, it kind of sometimes ruins the momentum of a ride, I feel like. And that's kind of what happens with this. So, yeah, it suffers from bad restraints, I think. I don't really know if that affected my ride too much because, yeah, I did have some pain on the ride, but I still really, really liked it. I really like Superman a lot. So, that is my number 18. It's a really good ride.
So for my number 18, I have a ride that you will not agree should belongs high, but I have Magnum XL 200.
Whew.
Um, I really, really like this ride. The triangle shaped like airtime mails, especially at the end, are just awesome. And then it kind of helps it when I went. I was with someone who knew one of the ride operators, and it was like the middle of like a summer day, and then they turned off all the trims on the ride. So we ended up getting I think they timed it, or like there's a timer on the ride. I think we came back like 7 seconds faster than it's supposed to be running. So we were like really hauling. Like I remember like I have a picture of my entire body just getting pulled back and like my neck is like getting snapped backwards during the airtime hills at the end. It was like ridiculous. And then you have to ride that. Most people think, or most people should know this hopefully, but the magic seat on that ride is the first car, row three. Even though a lot of people say the back is really good too. The back is good, but yet the magic seat is just insane on that ride. So, but I have it at 18. I know you don't agree, James, but
Ludicrous. We're going to move on to. I can't really agree with that. I think that ride's not very good. I don't really want to. This isn't time for debate, though. Um,
come on,
17
man.
for me. Yeah, this is not. Yeah, I don't know if that's the place for that kind of debate because I think that belongs like in the 90s. So that's where it's at for me. So, um,
Is it better than Nitro for you at least?
um,
Oh,
I
come on. This should not even be like a question.
I have to look honestly. Let me look real quick.
Oh
It
boy,
is
I
it
don't
is
think it
above
should be. I
Nitro.
mean,
Yes, it is above Nitro.
okay,
Barely, but it is above Nitro.
that's concerning, but we need to go back to Cedar Point. That's all that's telling me.
I don't know. I seem to have a higher pain tolerance now, so there's a possibility that I would actually end up enjoying that ride. Number 17 is Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. That is, again, like I stated, it has a really good first drop. It has a fantastic, I'd say, like first 4/5 of the ride. And then it's really, like people have said before, and this is like for a couple years back, this was like a huge topic of discussion, everyone, is that Wicked Cyclone had the worst pacing in the industry. I mean, it's not really that bad. It's just what happens is like at the very end of the ride, like most coasters actually, not RMCs normally, but most coasters generally, towards the end of the ride, slow down a considerable amount. Wicked Cyclone is one of those rides, and yeah, it is unnatural normally for a RMC to do that. But hold up, guys. Timmy just left. You're killing me.
I know my Discord just closed all of a sudden, just completely crashed.
Turn your camera back on. There we go.
Am I in the right spot?
I believe I had you in the right position here.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys. Apologize to them, Timmy.
I apologize. I'm sorry. At least I didn't say Magnum XL 200 is close to Nitro.
But
So did you just finish
at least I didn't speak the
your
truth.
17?
I was finishing up with Wicked Cyclone, yeah. Let me see what I was saying.
Okay.
Unnatural normally for a RMC to do that. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. However, it's just what happens with Wicked Cyclone, but I don't think that really discounts the ride. And people that say it do are wrong because it's a really good ride still. Like you cannot deny that ride. Yeah, if you want to say you don't enjoy that ride, you don't like its nature, or you don't like certain elements that it does, that's cool. But you cannot tell me that ride isn't aggressive and it's not forceful for the first like 4/5 of the ride. It's not true. It is aggressive. It has some really good airtime. I love the 0G stall on this thing. It's really, really good. And so yeah, that is why I have it at 17. That's why I have it above Storm Chaser. I have it above Twisted Cyclone. It is definitely a good RMC. So it's my number 17. I really enjoy it.
I mean, talk about a ride that slows down at the end. Look at Storm Chaser. I mean, that thing, like,
Yeah.
once you go over the trick track double up, as they call it, you get that little turnaround at the end there. That thing like crawls.
Well, yeah. That was just a weird placement of that element. If they didn't do that, they should have just literally had the trick track double up and then
to the
go
station.
straight on. Like there's no reason for there to be a helix there. It doesn't make any sense really. It doesn't do anything.
It just is really slow and it really kills the pacing.
Yeah. But with Wicked Cyclone, you are going over a couple of airtime hills that kind of do not produce the ejector airtime that we're used to with RMC, so that's kind of weird. So I think that's why many people notice that and are kind of critical of that. But yeah, that is true. Storm Chaser does do that as well. But I definitely think that Wicked Cyclone is a little bit more noticeable. But again, the first 4/5 of the ride, I would argue, are much better than Storm Chasers in total. So yeah.
So at 17 for me, I have Orion at Kings Island. It's an amazing ride. For some reason, when we rode it, I wouldn't say it had a rattle. I didn't say it really did anything to the ride to affect the ride experience. Yeah. But it was it was there, which was interesting considering it's a brand new ride. But it's an awesome ride. It's a giga. I can confirm it is a giga. The drop is over 300 feet, which makes it a giga roller coaster. But the layout is shorter for a giga, but at the same time, I mean, that also helps its pacing, which is good. It's also a really pretty roller coaster, and don't even get me started on the theming. Like the theming really caught me off guard when we went. There's like right before the station, there's a room that's like full on, like they're showing videos and stuff in there. It's really cool.
And like Kings Island isn't really a theme park. Like they do have some theming here and there, but it's not really a theme
Mystic
park.
Timbers also has really great theming,
Mystic
so
Timbers is an
maybe it's
exception, but I went in
yeah.
the first time I went to Kings Island. I didn't really pay attention much to the theming. I kind of knew Mystic Timbers, but everything else I kind of was just like a blur. I was just walking around and going to the coasters. This time I went back and was like actually looking at the theming, and really, Mystic Timbers, that area of the park, and then the new Area 72, I think is what they call it. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. Both of those areas are great, and that's really kind of it for Kings Island though. So
I mean,
that
maybe
really
they're just
does
heading in a
bring
new
out like a
direction.
highlight for the park. It's like now you have a themed attraction. You had Mystic Timbers for sure, but now you have solidified. You have two major attractions that are pretty well themed. So I really like that. I really think that's important.
Yeah, they might just be heading in a new direction with their rides. I mean, or their areas. I mean, what they did, the area right outside of Mystic Timbers. And I think that was the most recent area before Area 72 that they did. So maybe they turned a new leaf.
I think
Maybe they're trying
Cedar
to.
Fair in general seems to be wanting to do that more with their rides, create storylines, create themes, create backstories. Because you see Copperhead Strike, you see Steel Vengeance. You know, Steel Vengeance, not the greatest theming,
Yeah,
but it has a
I mean, but they
backstory. It
added
has
a
a
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Twisted Timbers has some theming and a backstory. So I think they're just trying to do that more with their newer rides. It seems, which is good, which is
I mean,
cool.
I'm not complaining. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's
My
awesome.
number 16 is Orion as well. So I really like Orion. I think it's really good. I did a full in-depth review on the YouTube channel. So if you want to hear more of like a breakdown of the ride and everything, go to Go Shock Podcast on YouTube. But yeah, I really like Orion. It's really fun. Everything you said applies to my opinion as well. Yeah, for sure. It's a fun ride. Very fun.
You'll know it's his review when you see the awesome thumbnail taken by yours truly. So,
Yes, indeed.
so I know that you're going to agree with me on this one. Or one above that, I have Candemonium at Hershey Park.
Mm.
Uh, see, I don't really. I just first of all, the back of the ride is better. I have to get that out first before
I can agree
everyone
with
gets
that.
all
I
over
can
me for
agree
that.
with that.
The first day we rode it, I had Orion over it, but then the second day we rode, because we rode, and the first day we rode it front row and then back row, and I think we both thought the first day that the front row was better, and then the second day we went and we rode front row, and then we rode back row again. The back row ride was like insane. Like there was like some really consistent like floater airtime, and it was like really really like strong. And I don't know, I'm more of a guy that like likes floater or like airtime over positive G's. So I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
Candemonium more caters for that, I'd say, than like Orion. Orion has some good airtime moments, like the drop, and then there's some hills in there. But I think Orion or Candemonium is more airtime focused. Plus, I feel like I don't know. I think it didn't have that weird B&M rattle that like for some reason Orion had. It didn't make Orion worse, but it helped Candemonium just go that spot above it just barely. So
Mm.
that's the reason why I have it over.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think that Candemonium's good. It's fun. It's good. That's like it's pretty good. But Orion, I just feel like it's great. I think Orion's really, really, really great. It's a really, really good ride. I really enjoy it. I can add that really in there for Orion, and I can't really. I feel I'm a little hesitant to do that for Candemonium. I think it's good. It's not really my favorite B&M Hyper. I think Orion's better than my favorite B&M Hyper, which is Goliath. So I mean, it's just above it. I don't know. It's definitely they're not too far off from each other, but Orion like the drop is just. So I think it's so much better. Candemonium's drop isn't that great. Orion's first drop was really, really good. I really thought that was really good first drop, especially we were in towards the back of the train. We rode very back row the first time, and then like second or third to back the second time. So the first drop was really crazy, and I thought that there were some really good airtime moments. I really liked the whatever you want to call it, wave turn or just giant kind of banked airtime hill, whatever you want to call it. I really like that element. I think it's really fun. It doesn't really have much airtime, but it's really fun, and I don't know. I like the heel. I even like the turnaround on the ride. I think it's kind of unique and fun. I mean, it's just like a hammerhead, but it's a little bit more. Well, it's not actually a hammer. It's actually more like the treble clef, but it's still a lot of fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just called it a hammerhead because I literally envisioned it and still called it a hammerhead. Hammerhead's the more like the nitro one. That's the one I don't like actually. So maybe that's what I was thinking. But yeah, Orion, a lot of fun, really good ride. And again, I'll if you want to check out more and more in-depth analysis, it's on the YouTube channel. All right, so we're gonna go to my number 15
Yep.
now. Phantom's Revenge. That is my number 15 at Kennywood. This is a ride, man. It is aggressive. It is forceful. It has some good airtime. It's just it gives some really good night rides. It's just an incredible ride. Really, really like Phantom's Revenge. It's really, this is where I feel like almost my list starts to get into world class attractions now. Right at 15, like, yeah, I still think that there are some in the top 15 that some people might not agree with should be this high, but I feel like this is the point that I would start saying Phantom's Revenge is a world class attraction. This is one of the best roller coasters in the world, I would say. Orion, it's a little bit on the edge. It's very good, but it's not the same level. Phantom's Revenge is like where I should to like, it's almost like another tier above a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. At 14, I have to continue my streak here of B&M hypermodels. I
15.
have Montu, which is I'm at 15.
Yeah.
Oh, oh yeah. Wait, no, that's what I meant still for some reason.
All
But
right.
it's Mako. At
Are you
SeaWorld
still
Orlando.
recording?
It is. I am. Oh,
Uh,
did you stop?
I stopped.
Oh, geez. Here, I don't know how. Let me see where I should cut it off
It's
at.
probably like 10 or 20 seconds.
This is really quiet on my end for some reason, but I can see the audio looking fine, so that's weird. How do I just get this part here? I'm still learning how to use Audacity, so I need to figure out how to like just clip this part. Well, there's a zoom in feature. That would have been useful. Oh, geez, what did I do there?
Have you figured it out
Oh,
yet?
perfect. It's just nope. I just hit play and it was me. I like highlighted this part to make sure it was it. Hit play and then send me to the very beginning.
Oh, Timmy.
I don't know how this works. I only use this when I'm with you. So okay, I just do this. Make sure this is the. Wait a second. What did I do? I'm so confused at what's happening. Wait, how much time do you have recorded right now?
An hour and 16 minutes and like 47 seconds.
I don't think it recorded me doing that second. Wait, I have an hour and 9 minutes. I don't. It's like it didn't record me.
Sometimes there's
Although
thrown off.
I just heard me say something like that was related. I thought so. I wish I knew how to use this. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I just have to cut out this part. Ooh, I got worried it just didn't record a bunch. This part, make sure this is the right part. All right, I think I'm good now.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, so I'm at 15, right?
Yep. 3, 2,
Okay.
1.
Hold on. I just clicked it and it said popped up with audio cannot be recorded while the preview editor is open.
Oh, Tim.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, you ready?
Hopefully.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, and at my number 15 spot, I have Mako at SeaWorld Orlando to continue my streak here at B&M hypermodels. I think this is the best B&M hyper that I've been on. It's just like I said, I love that feeling of like weightlessness and the airtime. Like that's the main thing I look for in a coaster, honestly. So it's like this hyper especially is like it's the best part of hypers pretty much. It's literally like almost like a Mystic Timber. It's like an out and back Mystic Timbers type of style of hyper. Like I guess kind of like a polished straight and that type of thing too. But it does it so much better. Like the airtime is so much stronger. It's very consistent and it's like you're definitely out of your seat like for a very like the duration of the ride. Like I'd say you're out of your seat almost as much as you're in your seat in that ride. So you keep your speed up throughout the entire ride, and then the ending is also really neat how you go down by the water and everything. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's an amazing ride. I can't wait to get on again because it's been a while since I've been down to Orlando. So hopefully we can get on it again together sometime.
Yeah,
You can see why I love this ride so
I
much.
would love to assess why you like it so much. Do some testing. All right, so I have not been on that, so I can't comment too much on that ride. So we're gonna move on to my number 14 then, which is Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom. So yeah, I have it a lot further up than Timmy. That's one ride that we seem to one of the rides that we seem to have in a quite different place. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit better than all the other like Orion and Wicked Cyclone and Superman the Ride. Like it's and even Phantom's Revenge. I just think like Timmy said, really good first drop, but also just really every airtime hill it does is crazily good. You have some of the greatest ejector airtime I think. Even talking RMCs, even talking Intamins, it's really forceful. I just love it so much. I think it's one of my favorite roller coasters. I mean, that's why it's so far up. I don't know, and it's visually appealing. It's one I don't know, and it's one of the rides I think that I went into Kentucky Kingdom thinking this is gonna be really good, and then was actually surprised in a good way. Like I stated, I was not a big fan of Kentucky Flyer. I wasn't a big fan of Storm Chaser, and then I get on Lightning Run, and I was like, holy crap, that blew me away. And then it was just, I don't know. I want to get back on it. That's like the major reason I want to get back to Kentucky Kingdom. Yeah, I want to rewrite Storm Chaser. Yeah, I would like to rewrite Kentucky Flyer even and see if my opinion have changed on it or whatever. But Lightning Run was just so good. Just so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, like I was saying, every park needs one of these Chance Hyper GTXs. I don't understand it. I do not understand why parks don't have them. They're very inexpensive. They're great budget coasters, and they're amazing for what they are.
Yeah, they fit relatively small footprints.
For sure, very compact too. So my number 14 spot, I have another ride you have not been on, but it is my favorite B&M invert coaster, Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People are going to disagree with me on this one, but I think this is the best ride at Busch Gardens Tampa. Well, until Anguazi opens, obviously. But um, this ride, it's so snappy on like every single element, and it's such a long ride. It just catches you off guard almost. It never stops. The pacing on it, it's almost like Voyage as an invert coaster kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the point where like it's like you get through the mid course like, oh wow, how much more could we have? And there's like still like a bat wing to go, and like there's all these awesome elements in the ride. Um, and the theming is actually pretty good. Like the entire area in that section is themed to like kind of like Egypt or whatever. So that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great ride, very visually appealing as well. It kind of just takes up that back section of the park there next to Cobra's Curse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the main reason I want to get back to Busch Gardens Tampa, honestly, besides Iron Gwazi, obviously. But yeah, it's an amazing ride. Favorite B&M invert. So
Awesome. I have yet to get on it. I would love to get on it. And check it out because I love me some Banshee. So I'd love to see if that's a worthy competitor, which I've heard it is. So my number 13 is Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland. This is a ride that you have not been on either. So now we're starting to get into a couple of rides that we haven't been on from each other. But Leviathan is really, really good. I think it's better than, as you can tell, I think it's a little better than Orion. And I think that's just because Leviathan has its purpose pretty well laid out. It's not an airtime coaster; it's a speed coaster, and I really like that. Yes, I do prefer airtime rides as well as Timmy's made out that he loves airtime coasters. I love airtime coasters too, but just like Millennium Force, there are some points where I enjoy a good coaster that's made for speed, and there are some actually good. I mean, the drop on Leviathan has a good airtime, and there actually is an airtime. There's actually a couple of airtime hills. But most of the ride, you're kind of flying around and you're taking bank turns and you're heading into like these turnaround elements, and it's just a lot of fun. It's really fast and it's really, really, really awesome. I really enjoy it. It's a really good ride.
yeah, I hope I can get on that sometime. Uh, my 13 spot, I have another Yuki coaster, kind of a different type though. I have I-305, which is kind of the opposite of
Mm.
Leviathan if you think about it. It's a lot more of a intensity themed coaster than like airtime and that type of stuff. But I-305, I mean, I'd love to put it higher, and I'm sure people would be like, "Oh, how do you have it at 13?" Like I know plenty of people that have it their number one spot, and we're probably gonna like probably yelling right now, like, "Oh my God, how do you have it at
They're
13? How are
turning the
there
show
12
off.
rides better than this?"
They're turning the show off.
Yeah, I'm sorry, James. I just lost half your viewership probably,
Yeah.
but um, I don't know. It's just I think one of the reasons why I have it kind of lower than most people also is because there's like a bias when rides are at your home park. You don't really have them as high as other rides because you can ride them all the time, and it kind of makes the ride feel almost more dull in a way, I guess, because it's like you've been on it like probably like hundreds of times at this point, so it's like I still love I-305. Obviously, I've been on like 200 something roller coasters and I have it at 13, but I mean, there's other rides, like some rides that might shock people that I have over it. But overall, I mean, I-305 is a great ride. You can't ever forget that first turn. I mean, I gray out consistently. I don't think I've ever been on it and not grayed out. So,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then the fact that it stays so low and like to the ground and keeps its speed all the way out through the end until that final little airtime hail trim thing that kind of like kills the pacing a little bit. But I mean, there's not much after it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if that didn't have that trim, you'd probably like just die. So
Mm, maybe, or maybe you just get really good ejector airtime. Um, which would be I think a if that element had some really good airtime, I feel like the whole ride might be actually somewhat complete. But that just that trim kills it. That's one of the reasons I don't have it as high as others either. My number 12 though is Phoenix at Kent Nobles. We shall return to I-305 in a little bit, but Phoenix at Knobles is my number 12. It's a great ride. Some really, really, really good airtime. Really well paced. And when I say really good airtime, I mean like some of the greatest airtime ever. It's unique airtime too. Because it's not like sustained, but it is, the moments of airtime that you get are crazy. You feel like you're going to fly out of your seat for like half a second. You get whipped out of your seat. It's crazy. I can't even describe it. It's
yeah,
not normal airtime. It's not like you're coming over a hill and it's just like you're getting pulled over. It is like actually like you just it goes over a little
you
hill
just
and you just
pop
go
out of your
boom.
seat
Yeah,
out of
it's like a
nowhere.
bump. It's like a bump on if you're in a car and you ride over a puddle or something, you bump up in your seat. It's like that, but it's actually, I mean, you feel the airtime. It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
really, really
imagine driving over like a speed bump at like 60 miles per hour,
yeah,
but then with buzz bars,
yeah,
and that's
exactly.
Phoenix.
Yeah. Man, love
So you're not gonna believe this, but at my number 12 spot, I have Phoenix at
it.
Knobles. Who would have guessed? But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's an awesome ride. It's so unique because of the buzz bars really make the ride. I mean,
hmm
I love buzz bar woodies, but I mean, the airtime on it's awesome. I mean, Dick does such a good job of making sure that that ride is so well kept. Like it's so smooth for like its
I know,
age.
I
And the
know.
fact that it got moved, it's like one of the smoothest wooden coasters I've ever been on. So it's just an awesome ride. I don't know if it's the best wooden coaster,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Golden Ticket Awards may
Like some
suggest,
people
but
may
it's
claim.
an awesome one.
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure, yeah. All right, moving on to number 11 for me. I have Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This is the RMC Raptor, and man, is it aggressive. And man, is it short. So that's my major complaint with this ride. Why is it not further up? A lot of people love this ride. A lot of people say that they're actually underrated. I think I have it perfectly rated. I think it's a really, really good ride, but I think that is a major flaw of them, is that they're so short. If that thing was longer, yes, there's a chance that the pacing might slowly deteriorate. And yes, it is really well paced because of its shortness. But I would like a little bit more. Just a little bit more. It's still phenomenal. It's still really good. But I would just like a tad bit more on the ride. It's so good. It's so aggressive. The inversions are great. It's fun. It's snappy. It's crazy. And it's so weird because you watch the trains go throughout the track. It's one of the... It looks like... I don't know if you ever watched like one of those... I can't... what is it? Like the Cyclone model coasters? Or like when they...
Or like a Connect coaster.
Like a Connect coaster, yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they have like the Cyclone model. And you like rev it up the lift hill, and then it goes through the course. It goes through the course like really, really fast, though, because it's so small.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes through that course like really, really quickly.
Right.
That's exactly what, when you watch the Raptor coasters, at least in person, when I watched Wonder Woman Gold Lasso, it looked like that almost, like on a little bit of a, it's a larger scale, but just because it's so short, because it's so fast and it's going through that layout so quickly, it looks like one of those Connect model coasters. It's like going through the inversion, and then it's going through there, and then it's going through there, and then it's done, and then you hit the brakes, and it's like, it's kind of funny. It's the first roller coaster that I've ever watched, and I'm like, wow, it actually looks like it's going faster than when you're actually riding it. It feels like you're going fast when you're riding it, but watching it, it looks like it's going like crazy fast on throughout the layout.
I remember when I think it was the one you're talking about, Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster. I remember when the videos came out, like of them testing that for the first time. I'm like, oh my god, like is that lift hill going like twice as fast as it's supposed to be going or something? Like what? Like what's
Yeah, the
happening
lift
here?
hill's pretty fast too. Exactly.
And I'm like, I remember seeing it just go through that first turnaround. I'm like wait, that thing is going really fast, and just
Yeah.
watching go through the layout, and I'm like wait a second, like what's going on here? This is something isn't right here. And then it still goes that fast when people are riding it. It's honestly, it's one of my top bucket list coasters in the U.S. just because it's so like I'm a huge RMC fan. Don't tell Bob because he'll hate me. But um, I think this ride looks so unique, and the fact it's a single rail, like you're sitting over the track, just like you by yourself, makes it so interesting too. Like it looks super fun. So I hope I can get on it sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm at number 11, I believe now, which I have Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. I have this over I-305, which some people might even be surprised about, but it's an amazing RMC. So I remember when this opened, when it got announced, I'm like, oh my god, thank goodness I'm gonna have an RMC close to me. And now it's like awesome that it's like really close to where I am. But I mean, the entire ride itself is so awesome. Like even the theming for it is pretty cool. Like they did a good job with the theming around the area. It's got that barrel drop, which is pretty good. It's pretty much the same thing as Storm Chasers, except it's in the other direction.
Yeah.
After the turnaround, but it's pretty unique. I mean, I've sometimes wondered what would happen if they just did like a standard drop on that, and like you just got like ejector. But I mean, those 3 back-to-back airtime hills too, right after that turnaround, are like the highlight of the ride in my opinion. It's like crazy airtime. It's like you're getting completely thrown out of your seat. I know one time I don't even know how to train dispatch because I had so much room. Like I don't know, like it was crazy. And I remember we were with our friend Alex. I think this might have been during Winterfest last year, and I remember he looked over at me and he was so worried that I was gonna fly out that he was holding me into my seat because that's how much room I had, and I was just like flying and like going straight up out of my seat. Like it's like the airtime on the ride is so strong, and it's pretty. You get it. You hold it for a pretty decent amount of time there on those 3 hills. So
Yeah, it's sustained
it's
for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah, it's definitely sustained. That's what I was looking for. It's great sustained ejector, and that's what I love that. So that's why I have it at 11.
All right, so my number 10 is in Timothy 5 at King's Dominion, and again, that might be lower than some people want it to be. They might want it to be a bit higher, but again, I think what happens is I've ridden this coaster over 300 times for sure, like I've counted, and I think what happens is, like Timmy said, it gets a little bit repetitive when you ride it so many times. And still, number 10 is great. It's a great spot. It's a great roller coaster. But what happens is that you've ridden it so much that almost that insane factor of Intimidator 5 kind of deteriorates over time because you aren't really that impressed by it anymore because you do it so much. And that's the thing is that I'm thinking that now when we ride this next year, it's going to be almost a year since we've ridden it. It's going to feel pretty great to get back on it. It's going to maybe change how we view. I don't know if I'm going to move it in my rankings or anything, but I know that that's going to feel like really crazy now because it's been almost.
Yeah.
It'll have been almost a year and a half since when the park reopens. So it's going to be really, 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 really awesome when we get back on this ride.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I don't know again how it'll work with rankings. Maybe I'll be like, holy crap, that's better than I ever remember it, and I'm gonna move it up. It's a possibility, but I can't claim, I can't say that right now for certainty. But I know when we get back on that, it'll be fantastic. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what it's like when we get back on that. So at my number 10 spot, I have, as you were talking about before, Phantom's Revenge.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I mean, you pretty much nailed it with what you said. It's definitely a world-class ride. I mean, night rides on it especially are awesome. When I went, for some reason, it was like one of the busiest days of the summer, I guess, because I remember waiting like all the way in the switchbacks by the front of the line,
Oh,
or I guess the back of the line. Yeah, it was
I've
not
never
fun,
waited
but
anything outside of the station for that, so I pity you.
it was. I remember that was when I was playing Clash Royale, so that's all I was doing in line. But
A great game.
um, it's an amazing ride. I mean, especially that second half, like after you go through the larger drop, which the fact that every single coaster enthusiast knows is that that second drop is actually bigger than the first drop.
Yeah.
But once you get past that, and I mean, like especially at night, just flying through that and just carrying all that speed and just that airtime at the end is so great. And those restraints are so different and like so unique. They like you really can feel the airtime on it in them.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
that really adds to it. So that's why I have it at 10.
For sure. We're gonna move into my number 9 spot now. Talk about Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, and yeah, I have this above Wonder Woman, which a lot of people, well, not a lot of people. I think this is a pretty again talking about like Goliath and Twisted Cyclone and Timothy 5 and Twisted Timbers. A lot of this is kind of a similar situation, a similar scenario where they're the two best rides at the park, and it's almost split down the middle with who has what where. So I'm an Iron Rattler guy. I prefer Iron Rattler. I think it's a great ride. I think the first drop's really fun. I don't think the first drop's as crazy as everyone makes it out to be. I think it's a really good first drop. I don't know if it's one of my favorites, but for some reason, when everyone rides Iron Rattler, they go, "Oh my god, that first drop was crazy!" And I'm like, I mean, it's just a little bit of a slanted first drop. Like it's really good. It's an RMC drop. It's really fun. I don't think it's as miraculous as people say it is, though. It's definitely good though for sure, but it does provide some very good airtime moments throughout the ride. There's some fun bank turns. I think that jump off the quarry wall is a lot of fun. I love the quarry wall interaction too. I think that as much as people don't want to take that into account when they're talking about the ride, you kind of have to, because it's so unique and so awesome and so different. And it really, I mean, when you think about it, it's a snake. It's Iron Rattler, and it's weaving its way around like this desert wall, like snakes would actually do. So I like that. That's kind of almost, in a sense, part of the theming. And I know that actual Rattler itself did that as well before it was Iron Rattler. But still, I mean, now with the RMC treatment, it almost even like maneuvers like a snake would. Like it's fast and it's quick and it's intense and it's doing like almost like snake-like maneuvers. So I think that's kind of cool that it kind of plays in the theming. And I think the actual ride is phenomenal too. I think it's really, really good. I love the Zaire or not the Zaire, the Gerslauer, excuse me. Ooh, Gerslauer, but we've been up too long. Gerslauer trains on that. They're really, really awesome. They're different. They're not the same RMC restraints that you get. I don't really know if I like them more or less. They're different, so it's kind of hard to compare the two. But I love the Gerslauer restraints. They're very good. I also like the RMC new generation trains as well, though. So I don't know. I like them all. But yeah, I love Iron Rattler.
Yeah, I've heard so many amazing things about that drop off the quarry wall. I mean, I'm hopefully I can get down to Fiesta Texas sometime soon because that Iron Rattler definitely is another one of those bucket list coasters I have to get on.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
great.
so for my number 9 slot, this is something that James always made fun of me for a ride I had over Fury, but here it is at number 9 now. It dropped after I really sat there and thought about it. I have Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Um, it's just I love that. Like, I mean, if we're talking objective coasters, I have it at number 9. If we're talking favorite coasters because of personal experiences, it might be number one or number two, just because I remember it's the first RMC I've ever been on. I remember all this hype about hearing about RMCs for the longest time, and then I finally got to get on Twisted Colossus, and this was when I was with my friend Adam I was talking about earlier. And I remember we were sitting there, and for everyone always talks about how they don't get dueling rides. I am just incredibly lucky, I guess, in this sense where I remember most of the times I get double dueling rides. I don't know how it happens. I mean, I'm not going to complain whatsoever, but it is awesome. Just I remember it was like a dusk ride, and I remember like the second like half of the ride, I guess, like or like the second part of the course, um, like it's like after the turnaround. I remember just sitting there and like you're doing inversions over the other side, like going inverting over the other track, and like us and then the guy next to us in the back row, we were all
Mm-hmm.
sitting there waving at each other and stuff, and like saying hi and like trying to high five, and it was just such an awesome ride in that sense if you can get a dueling ride. And then I mean the layout itself is pretty good because I know after the first drop is pretty good. It's not an amazing first drop, but it's I mean it's an RMC, so it's gonna be good. But then you go back up and then you pop up into like this turnaround, and it is an incredibly strong moment of airtime for no reason at all. Like it's crazy. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
I like that moment of airtime better than I like the drop, which is surprising. And it just really catches you off guard. And then you go into like I was just saying, that moment where you do the like you interact with the other train if you're racing, and then you go and then you do it all over again. It's like an awesome thing that's a Mobius Sleep Coaster still. So, or I guess it wasn't before, but now it is, and that's awesome.
Yep.
So that's why I have it number nine. It's an amazing ride.
It looks really good. Looks really good, for sure. Totally want to get on that one day. Totally want to get back to Six Flags Magic Mountain and check out all the great attractions they have there. All right, so I'm going to get to my number 8 spot now, which is Sky Rush at Hershey Park. This is a ride that previously was not even in my top 10, and so even if you think that's too low, which I think is I think that's a really good ranking. Number 8 is really good, but I think it previously was barely in my top 20, maybe even outside of my top 20. So that's how much it's changed. It's moved up, you know, a considerable amount of spaces here. You know, almost 10 more, maybe more than 10 spaces in my list, and it's crazy. You have some really good ejector airtime. You have some really fun bank turns. The first drop is crazy. I think it's the best first drop for sure.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
That bank turn even after the first drop is really awesome too. It's almost like a mini I-305 in a sense because it's not gray out material, but it is definitely intense, very, very intense. That first bank turn kind of resembles I-305. So that is my number 8 spot. I really like the ride. I think it's phenomenal. It definitely moved up. I do think the restraints are terrible, but I don't think that hinders the ride experience as much as it previously did in my last experience. Again, I think I've built up somewhat of a pain tolerance, and I don't think I'm, I just don't think I think I've matured some, and I think I've understand that, that's not how it, just because something is uncomfortable sometimes doesn't mean it's not good. That sounds really wrong and weird, but I'm talking about roller coasters. Yes, all right. Sky Rush, really good ride. Liked it. Love it a lot.
Yeah, it's an awesome ride. I mean, like the only part the restraints aren't the greatest. I mean, I think they hurt you a lot more than they hurt me when we went on our most recent trip. But I mean, the only part it really affects is when you're sitting on the brake run. So it's only like a couple minutes at most. So, but at my number 8 spot, I have Maverick at Cedar Point. I mean, what else, where do I even start with this ride? It's so, I mean, the lift hill slash launch, I still don't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Then that drop, if you're in the back row for that drop, it's great. I actually think this is a front row ride though for everything else but that drop. You might disagree, but
Yeah.
I just think it's awesome. I mean, the entire ride. I mean, it was the best ride at Cedar Point in my opinion until its neighbor popped up across the road there. Um, but it's an amazing ride. I mean, the inversions are great. It's such a unique ride too. Like there's not many like it in North America, I don't think.
No, there's
So
not.
I
Yeah.
really don't even know what else to say about it. It's
Yeah.
just awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Maverick's a really good ride. Really like Maverick. My number 7 is Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. This is a ride that Timmy touched on a bit. Some really good sustained ejector airtime on those 3 camelbacks. I think the best airtime actually is the very final airtime moment, though, on the ride. Right before you hit the brakes, there's one last airtime hill, and I think that is crazy. I really like that, like trick. It's not even a trick track, but it is kind of a trick track where you're I don't really know. You're banking to the right, then you're banking to the left, and then you bank back to the right, which I think is really
And
cool.
that's when you dive like right under the lift hill,
Right
and
on the left hill, yeah.
yeah,
That element's really, really awesome. I really like that element. Man, I miss Twisted Timbers. I really hope Kings of Dominion opens back up.
I know.
Hopefully opens up Twisted Timbers too. But yeah, I love that ride so much. It's a lot of fun.
So at my number 7 slot, I have a ride that you just talked about, Sky Rush. I probably only have it right above you just because the restraints didn't hurt me as much. Honestly, you pretty much nailed it. Like the entire, I say over and over again, I'm a huge airtime guy, and it's literally just like an airtime paradise. Like that
Mm-hmm.
first drop
Mm-hmm.
is like a car crash in such a good way. That's the only way I describe it. It's like I have no clue what happens, but I just know that I just freaking get thrown straight into the restraint, and I love it. And then the rest of the ride is awesome too. Such great strong ejector airtime. And then even like the turns are pretty good on it, especially like if you get a wing seat, you can kind of lean out of the train and then like get thrown back into it as you go through the banks.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun ride. And I mean the only part that sucks about it is sitting on the brake run with those restraints kind of clamping down on you. So if you can get a good way, like there's sometimes you can sit a certain way and have it like not completely crush your thighs and come on your hips, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um overall it's an amazing ride. I don't know what to say about it.
All right. So I'm gonna move on then to my number 6, which is Maverick. You touched on it. It's a really good ride. I don't. You said front mat is better. I don't really think it matters. I don't really feel like there's that since the trains are so small. I don't really think I even remember a difference really between the front and back, which I did ride both. Both times I went back in 2016. I went back in like 2015, and then I went back in 2018 as well. But yeah, I like Maverick a lot. I think there's some really good airtime moments. I think the launches are both launches are really 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 good. The launch of the lift hill and then the second launch. I just the overall ride is really fun. It's aggressive. It's snappy. It's really really good. For a while, I think it even was my number 1 favorite roller coaster. So Maverick at Cedar Point really is a good ride.
Mm-hmm. So number 6, for me is a ride that I don't think you'll agree with, but I have Fury 325 down here. Um, I mean, it's the top B&M on my list, so it's amazing. I mean, everyone knows Fury is just an awesome coaster. I mean, I don't understand if you could really hate on this ride. I mean, it's so smooth.
Yeah,
It's
I
got
think
airtime. It's got positive G's. I mean, I've even grayed out on this ride. I actually gray out pretty frequently on that first turn, so um, it's an awesome ride. I mean, the treble clef slash hive dive, whatever you want to call it,
hmm
the way it interacts with the front of the park. So,
yeah, I like it a lot too. So we'll get to that. Number 5 is El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure for me. It is a crazy ride. Some of the greatest airtime ever, I think, is on this ride. I think probably the most sustained moments of airtime is on this ride. Those two camelbacks and that rolling thunder hill are phenomenal. I just the reason I don't have it as high as some people might, and I still think top 5 really at this point all of these are interchangeable. Even top 10 I think could be like argued that all of the rides are interchangeable. They're just so good that one day I could technically like one more or one less, but this is just my list for now. El Toro has some very good airtime moments, but the reason I have it at number 5, and it'll stay there until every ride is, or at least until I ride other coasters that go above it too. But until I ride it, it's not going to go up, is because I don't like the ending. Again, like Superman the ride, I think it ruins the end of the ride. Yes, I don't mind the twister section. I think it's fine. I think it's fun. But I feel like when you put a twister section at the end of the ride, it just kind of ruins the momentum. Yeah, the twister section I think on El Toro is pretty aggressive. I think it's more aggressive than Superman's, but I still feel like ending with it kind of kills the purpose of the it's an airtime machine for so long, and it's aggressive and it's forceful and it's sustained, and then it's like now we're just gonna do a bunch of random bank turns, and it's a lot of fun
yeah.
and it's still really good, but I feel like it kind of I don't know. It's just counterintuitive to the actual first half of the ride. I would have much preferred if, and I know they couldn't have, but I would much preferred if El Toro was just out and back airtime moments. Oh my gosh, that'd be so crazy.
That'd be great. My number 5 spot is another coaster you haven't been on. It's X2 at Magic Mountain. I had it ranked a lot lower. I think I had it like 15 or something, but then when I went back and visited again, it moved up a lot because it depends on where you sit on the train, which kind of sucks. But I
Mhm.
believe you want a
Mhm.
seat closer to the track, like you want the inner seat, and it makes the entire rotations a lot smoother. Because if you're on the outside, it's kind of janky almost. I mean, it is an arrow, so, but it's like kind of like almost snappy and whippy with how like you get jerked around on the drop and everything and every rotation. But then if you
Mhm.
sit on the inside, it's a lot smoother. It's just like it's great, and yeah, it's like one of those rides. I mean, I Dinoconda and Ijanika, I really want to get on those because if they're better than X2, it's gonna be amazing. Because it's like this ride, you have no clue what's going on the entire time. Like, like they play this awesome soundtrack as you're going up the lift hill backwards, so you see like how far like up off the ground you are, and you have
Mm.
no clue when the
Mm.
drop's coming. And then all of a sudden you're just facing the ground, and then from then on you have no clue what's going on. You're inverting, like the track's inverting around you, and then you're just flipping around. Then all of a sudden there's fire in front of you, and just like I have no clue what's happening, and I love it. It's so unique. There's nothing else like it except in Asia. So I really, really love X2. It's just got a soft spot in my heart.
Yep, I can't comment. I would love to ride it. I think it looks really cool. I love the 40 free spin, like the SNS that I've ridden, and I obviously would expect X2 to be much better than those. So I could totally see it being a great ride and being one of the best coasters because I already just love the 40 free spins plain and simply. So let's talk about Fury 325 at Carowinds again because that's my number 4. I like the ride a lot. I think it's totally been overhated. I think it turned into like the new Millennium Force for a while. What happened was when it first opened in 2015, everyone loved it, like Millennium Force. Millennium Force for some reason got the longer run of love though, because then like 2018, it was like all the enthusiasts were like, let's just not put Fury 325 in the top like 30 best coasters. Let's just say it's not even that good, which I think is ludicrous in the first place. People that rank their, I'm very anti ranking coasters in the world that you haven't ridden, but when you just do that for like I'm getting off on a tangent here, but when you do that for like clout, when you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put Fury like in the number 30 spot just to piss people off, kind of. It's like, come on,
Just to be edgy.
just to be edgy, just
Yeah.
to be weird and different, and it's just like, come on. We all know it's a good ride. We all know it's a great ride. Sure, it might not be your favorite, but that doesn't mean you're not gonna put it in like when you rank coasters, which I think again is completely ludicrous that you haven't ridden. You're gonna put it like not even in the top 30, not in the top 40. I mean, it's just crazy. But whatever. I don't care too much about those lists anymore like I used to, and I don't really care about other people's opinions. It's your opinion, whatever. But when you do it to be kind of different and edgy and dumb, then it becomes a problem. But if you don't like it and you don't have it ranked up there, that's fine. Number 4 for me is Fury. I think it's great. I think it's intense, which I know a lot of people might think is crazy, but I think there are some very intense moments on the ride. I think it has some very good airtime. I think it's smooth. I think it's fast paced. I think it's a speed coaster too, so it has like its speed moments, like when it goes over the front entrance and you fly over and you kind of do like a banked turn there, or not even a banked turn, but just like almost like it's not even a banked airtime hill. It's just like you fly over, like the pathway there before going into the treble
Mhm.
clef. You kind of bank at almost a
They
90 degree,
just
at
whip and
almost a
make to
90
the
degree
left.
angle. Yeah, at almost a 90-degree angle, and that element's like a lot. That's very speed. You like feel like you're flying over, and then the treble clef speed, and you fly down under the bridge, and then you hit some more airtime hills. So there's a good mix of those elements. So even people that don't love airtime coasters can find some speed in there, and then people that don't love speed coasters will get some speed, but also get some great airtime in it. So I think it's a good mix of everything. I really like. I really think it's really 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 awesome.
So my number 4 spot, you already talked about, but it's El Toro. I mean, it's just the back-to-back airtime hills, like really are amazing. I mean, that Twisted Timber is the kind of the same thing almost, but it's so much stronger on El Toro. I think the airtime. I mean, it makes that farting noise as they go over them for some reason. Just the upstop wheels sound so weird over those.
I
And I
love that.
remember
I love that.
you told me, Danny Miller told you that they should just build back-to-back airtime hills like all the way to the New Jersey border and back, and it'd be
Yeah,
like
all
the
the way to
best coaster ever.
Pennsylvania and
And
back.
yeah, that's what it was. And it's like, oh my gosh, I would love that. I think that would top my number 1 for me. So it's just the airtime on it is awesome. And then the Rolling Thunder Hill is like one of the strongest moments of airtime I think I've ever experienced. And then I mean the Twister section, like you said, I mean it kind of sucks it ends like that, but it's an intense Twister section still. Like it's still better than the ending on most coasters, I'd say. So it's
Eh,
overall it's a really great ride.
I don't know if I'd say it's better than most endings. It's a good. It's not a bad ending. I would have preferred like more airtime hills. I think that would have been better than most endings. But it's definitely not. It's not an awful ending for sure. I mean, it's still my top 5. I still really like it. So yeah, I agree with most of what you said. I love El Toro. Number 3 for me is Lightning Rod at Dollywood. We're starting to get into some even. We're starting to get into the typical top 5. Everyone knows all these coasters are coming kind of thing.
Yeah.
Lightning Rod is great. It's well, whatever it's going to be called next year. The pre, it's gonna. Oh, that's kind of weird. It's gonna be a different ride next year. So like, I don't.
Is it a new credit?
Oh man, we gotta. Well, it
I
depends on
hope
what they
not.
do. Depends on what they do. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Is Lightning Rod gonna take up like
Coaster
several
credits
spots
are
in my
starting to
top
get
5?
weird. They're starting to get really weird now. It's like the
Yeah.
industry. It's like almost like the industry experts are like, let's just screw with the coaster enthusiasts and let's just.
Yeah, just mess them up.
Yeah, but Lightning
We
Rod's
want as
great.
many like. Yeah. I love it.
Got some good airtime moments. Got some intense, really intense turns and twists, and I love the wave turns. As much as they're not really crazy elements, they're really fun. They're really fun elements. And then of course that quadruple down is fantastic, and I even really like the non-inverting half loop. I think that's a pretty fun ending. And you fly into the brakes, so you sustain quite a bit of speed throughout the ride, which is awesome. Great pacing.
Yeah, for sure. So number 3 for me, I have Lightning Rod at Dollywood. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. It's a pretty good ride.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, the launch is really what makes that ride, I think. I mean, if it has a chain, it's still gonna be great, but the launch really just flying up that, then you go over the one little hill, and then you go up into the actual drop, and then from there on, it's just chaos kind of. You're like out of your seat constantly. The wave turn. I don't know if you sit in the front seat. I think you can actually look over and see the front wheels just hanging off the track
Yeah.
as the rest of the train catches up. I think that's so neat. And then then you kind of just go out throughout the rest of the layout. You're never in your seat at all. The quadruple down, that's really is like 6 or 7 hills or something.
It's a lot
We just
more.
don't talk about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Really just make the ride. I mean, it's such strong airtime. It's an amazing ride. So
Yeah, and I think we could have done it for our top 3, but let's just do it for our top 2 at least. We have the exact same top 2, so
yeah.
let's just. All right, I'll tell it for us, and then do it at the same time, maybe. Number 2, Steel Vengeance.
Steel Vengeance.
Yeah, Steel Vengeance.
Hey, who would have guessed?
Number 1, The Voyage.
It's Voyage.
Yeah, The Voyage.
Yes.
So Steel Vengeance, great ride. Voyage, great ride. But we're kind of running kind of long here, so I'm gonna try and they're good rides. We've talked about them. I hope you enjoy that. I've talked about Steel Vengeance and Voyage so much on the show.
One thing I want to say is that Bob is wrong. Twisted Timbers is not better than Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is an amazing ride, and it is much better than Twisted Timbers.
That's one thing that you can get across right now is that you can say that word right now, that Bob is wrong, because he's not here to criticize you. When the next week's show, he'll probably come back and be like, I'm not wrong. But as of right now, you're undisputed. Bob is wrong. Right now. You can make that claim. All right. So we're talking about some coaster logos now to finish off the show. What is your favorite coaster logo? And we got some responses from the audience. So let's go through those real quick, and then we're going to also give our own. Someone said Manta at SeaWorld San Antonio, or SeaWorld Orlando, excuse me, I think, because we were talking about Texas Stingray earlier. It says it really conveys the graceful and elegant nature of the ride. Yeah, I mean, that's somewhat true.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of like a...
I know Danny Miller loves that ride. That's like his favorite roller coaster or something like that.
Really?
So, yeah, it's something... He always debates people on that. It's definitely graceful, I guess.
If you don't know who Danny Miller is, he's a
pretty popular enthusiast, I guess. He has like a little podcasting of his own too over at CoasterNet.
CoasterNet, yeah, they do YouTube channel stuff and videos, and yeah, if you don't know who that is, just for reference, probably a majority of you do. But we're gonna continue talking about some coaster logos. Manta at SeaWorld Orlando was the first response we got. Another response we got was for... All right, pause that real quick. I'm just trying to pull up the Twitter votes real quick. All right, you ready? Do we just re-go?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. For Vortex at. All right, pause it again. He just put the Vortex logo. He didn't put what Vortex.
Oh God, I'm guessing it's not.
No, it's the Kings Island one.
Okay.
All right, you ready? But that's also
Yeah.
I think that's the same logo as the one at Canada's Wonderland. I don't. That's
Is
actually,
it?
they have different logos. That's a lot. All right, you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Was for Vortex, Corkscrew, and Alpengeist. He says, I'm partially. Oh my god, I cannot talk. This is crazy.
Oh God, James, this is almost a 2-hour-long podcast.
But
here we are.
we're gonna
pausing
continue.
like every 30
We normally
seconds.
do 2-hour podcasts. We're gonna continue talking about some coaster
Okay.
logos. Manta at SeaWorld Orlando was the first response we got. Another response we got was for. All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Vortex at Kings Island and Corkscrew at Cedar Point. Also Alpengeist. So he said, this audience member in his response said, I'm partial to the bold look of retro logos such as Vortex and Corkscrew. And then he went on to say that Alpengeist and Griffin are great examples of modern logos that I enjoy. So yeah, I agree. I think Vortex has a unique logo. I mean, it's like a fist grabbing some track there. I think that's intriguing. It's different. It's cool. And then Corkscrew obviously just has like the corkscrews. So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Someone said the Beast, Banshee, and the Legend, also Mystic Timbers. They look great, but they also have a narrative element with them because they have a story attached to their theme. That's important, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's a good way of putting that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you know
Sweet.
the theming behind certain logos, that can change your view of them. Yeah, I like that. All right, so
Yeah.
the next one we got was Rougarou, and it isn't even close. I think that's, I mean, interesting. Rougarou is just like, I believe, like the eyes and like in the darkness, and there's like, I think there's a little, maybe there's some track, I don't know. But I know that's the eyes for sure on the back of the coaster there. I don't know. I mean, that's a good one. I don't know if it's necessarily that undisputed champion or anything, but
Interesting pick for sure.
yeah, it's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting.
It's something I never thought about. So when I was trying to think of something.
The next one we got was Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. It just looks so good, they said, and looks so intimidating is the actual word they use as well. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah.
It has like the tornado on it, so I mean it definitely conveys that. Now that I think about it, when we're talking about Storm Chaser earlier in the show, they probably added that helix in there for that reason. That has that tornado, has that circular logo element, and then they probably just put that helix in there for that reason. Like, oh, let's add that in there.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but I would think that actually might be somewhat of a reason to do that, because no other RMC has a helix. I don't think Alan Chucky should be like, screw it, let's just put a helix on this ride.
Let's just put a helix in here.
I think they might have been like, hey, we have the tornado in the logo. Can you make a circular element and make it I don't know, but I feel like that might be because based on this image and based on the logo, it kind of does have that. They have like the top of the twister showing a little bit, and it does somewhat resemble a helix. So. Yeah. All right. Someone said, I love every modern Cedar Fair logo, but I have to give it to Fear 325 in particular.
It is a good logo.
They are doing very good logos, I think. They're Banshee, Mystic Timbers, Twisted Timbers. Like a lot of their logos, especially modern ones, are very good. So I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. I never thought about that, but all those new Cedar Fair logos are really good for sure.
Someone said Banshee, and I love how the actual logo outside of the coaster glows at night with the fog.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. So that's actually the sign they have outside of the ride, and that is the logo. So I can give it to them, and I think that's cool. Yeah, they did do some cool element there with like the lighting and the fog that comes up from the ride. I don't really think that should count for the logo because I mean it could be a really bad logo and they could do that too. But I think that is an interesting point. But
Yeah,
definitely, I think Banshee's logo in particular is very good as well. So
it is a good logo. Yeah,
someone said Millennium Force's wave is iconic and is up there. Yeah, I think.
definitely iconic. I,
Yeah, I
I
think
mean, it's just a squiggle, but it's very
exactly.
iconic. It's a very iconic squiggle.
Yeah, if you understand the importance behind that squiggle, it is totally an important logo, and it's definitely recognizable and significant logo in amusement history. So sure, I'll give it to you there. Someone said Copperhead Strikes. I really like the copper piping and mixed with the snake. So I think Copperhead Strikes is
Yeah,
definitely a good one. I've always thought that.
another one of those new Cedar Fir
Yeah,
logos.
one of the more
Yeah, it's
modern ones for sure. That's definitely good. I do see a common trend of a lot of Cedar Fair logos that we've been talking about. Well, one that's not Cedar Fair though is Great Bear. It's very pretty. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I've never really
another
I've
one I
always thought it
didn't
was kind
think
of a
of,
weird logo,
but it
especially
is
for
it is
Hershey
kind of
Park.
neat.
I don't know, like Great Bear. Like I always thought that Hershey Park should theme their coasters to chocolate and stuff. So it's kind of weird to me that like most of their rides don't have anything to do with chocolate and
Yeah,
stuff. Like
only one of them.
I know I'm in a way I'm kind of glad. Like I think that would be kind of cheesy if everything was just themed after chocolate.
Yeah,
But still, I just feel like it's always weird when I go to Hershey and it's like, oh, this is themed after a bear actually. But yeah, the logo is not bad. It
like
has it
oh
has like the constellation of the Great Bear, and it's pretty for sure. I definitely agree with that. You have like the stars twinkling
yeah,
in the background. Not a bad
it's
logo at
definitely
all.
neat.
Someone said, "Hey, I really like Big Bad Wolf's logo." I
Yeah,
honestly
I
think the Big Bad Wolf had a really good logo as well. That might
mean
be
most logos are pretty good. I guess now I think about it. I mean they're good, but then they're also like so kind of I guess they fit the ride so well that it's like what else could they really do with that? You know, like
yeah.
a lot of the logos are like okay, yeah, like it fits well.
The thing I like about Big Bad Wolf though is that like the tail comes down and almost forms like it almost looks like one of the turns that you would take on a suspended coaster. So I think that's kind of cool. And then yeah, it encompasses the text there. I think it's cool for sure. And of course, the name actually kind of fits. There was actual theming where you were going through the village of Little Red Riding Hood and everything. So yeah, it made sense. So I like the name, and I think the logo fits it well. Someone said Firehawk. I really liked Firehawks. I don't. Firehawks was it had like the bird's eye in the background, and then had like the kind of the wings coming over, like the fiery text. For sure, I think that was a cool logo. Definitely do.
Hmm.
Someone said Banshee because I like how if you line it up perfectly, you can. Oh, I didn't even notice it. So if you line it up perfectly, if you line up Banshee's logo with the actual ride, you can actually. It almost like it actually like right where I guess where it's situated at
Oh,
the sign. You can actually like line it up where it's like the ride in the background. That's kind of
oh
cool.
shoot! I never noticed that.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know if that's 100. Maybe
Oh,
I'd never noticed that either. I'd never heard that either.
I guess we have an excuse to go back to Kings Island now.
Yeah, I gotta just for that shot, and then we'll leave.
Yeah,
Um,
won't even ride it.
yep. Screw it. We're just gonna walk in the park, take a picture, and leave. All right. So that is about it for our responses. Thank you guys all so much for writing in and giving your opinion on that. I enjoyed discussing it for sure. It is now time to talk about our own favorite logos. Timmy, you want to go first?
Sure. My favorite logo is it's pretty new. It was I think announced this summer. It's T4 at Kentucky Kingdom.
Oh yeah, love that logo, man.
It's an amazing one. Oh yeah. No, but actually my favorite roller coaster logo is Diamondback. It's really cool. The thing about it is that's so neat is how like the track coming out of the snake's mouth, it's supposed to be its tongue, but it's actually track. And
Yeah.
then like it's such a cool logo. It's like it's pretty menacing looking. I think it fits the ride like super well, obviously, because I mean it has to be snake themed in some way. Um, but I think it's the best snake themed logo. Copperhead Strikes is also good, but Diamondback I think just tops it. It's another one of those new CFR logos like that one guy was talking about. I agree. I definitely agree with him that all these CFR logos are pretty great. So I just think the Diamondback is the best one.
I definitely like Diamondback's logo a lot, so I can agree and I can see where you're coming from there. All right, so I'm gonna talk about my favorite logo, mi favorito. Uh, some Spanish there for you guys. Thank you, I know it's very cool.
Very good, very good.
Thank you, thank you. My Spanish teacher would be very proud. Uh, the Smiler is my favorite coaster logo, and I kind of want to play off the Millennium Force thing. Millennium Forces I feel like is too simple to be a great logo. I think it's recognizable. I agree, but I think Smiler does it all well. I think it's recognizable because I know for a fact that there are shirts that I'll see people wearing in parks. Some people I don't even half of them probably haven't even ridden the Smiler, but they just buy those shirts. Enthusiasts, but they buy the shirt online, and it's just the smiley face, and I can instantly recognize that's the Smiler. But I also like that logo because it fits with the theme. The theme is like that. I believe there was some like laughing gas that infects you when you ride and you go crazy, and it's so much fun that you go crazy. And it's just it's a dark kind of a dark theme. You can go back and watch some of the promo videos for the ride and stuff. It gets kind of
Oh
dark.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're going absolutely crazy on the ride, and there's like some sort of laughing gas I believe involved. So that's cool. And then like the smile itself is kind of creepy, but it's kind of in a way it's kind of, it has two meanings to it. Like it's creepy and scary and spooky, but then it's also like you're gonna have fun. You're gonna smile. So this logo almost is
Yeah.
like it almost plays off both of those points very well. And then the eyes itself, they resemble inversions. So in a subtle way, you can see that this is a ride that's gonna have inversions because the eyes kind of do form almost like corkscrews. You can almost kind of see that element within them. So I think that's really interesting. It's not like bam in your face. This is a roller coaster logo, but you can totally tell like once you understand that this is a roller coaster, it's like oh I can see like the corkscrew in the eyes. So I think that there's so many different angles to look at this from that's why it's the best logo. There's so many. It can be scary. It can be funny. It can be recognizable. It's just there's so many different angles to play off this, and I think it fits the ride really well. So I think the Smiler's one of my favorites, and I think it's the one that I chose for today. So for right now, it is probably my favorite.
One thing about that logo especially is I think the marketing for that ride really helped, like, kind of make that logo so recognizable. Like I know that like I think even throughout like England and stuff, they were like putting that logo at places, like kind of like just subliminally like seeing if people would notice and that type of stuff. Like Alton Towers was, and then they'd show ads and stuff like for the ride and that type
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. Like the ads for that ride are so like creepy and weird
Yeah,
that and like they show the logo and stuff in them, and like I think that really adds to the logo because it's like how Millennium Force has that really um what's the word I'm looking for, like really like important, I guess, like advertisement, like really unique, like the one that everyone recognizes. And
it's
it's
kind of
like
bold. Yeah, it's just like one. It's not the thing with a lot of these logos. Diamondback, Banshee. There's a lot going on with these logos, right? And then I feel like Millennium Force and the Smiler both do is that they just have this one element, and that's it. That's all you have to look at. It's just this. It's a smiley face, and then there's Millennium Force, and it's just a squiggly line. And it's not like look at everything going on. Look at this complexity. This is a roller coaster logo. Like there's track in the background, and there's stuff going on, which is fine in its own way. That's definitely fine. I think there are just as good logos that do that. But for these in particular, it's like there's just one icon, there's just one symbol, and it's kind of bold. And it's just like, this is it. Like, this is it. Like, look at the smiley face. That's what we want you to look at. Look at the squiggly line. That's what we want you to look at, which is another look at it. And that's another approach to creating a logo. You can make it simple and you can make it like pretty easily recognizable, or you can make it kind of complex and make it like more like, look, this is a roller coaster. There's track in the background, and there's track, doing this and doing that, and it's forming the text, and it's doing all this different, cool, different, unique stuff. So there's different approaches to it. So I think that's kind of like the two different types of logos that we see in the with coasters, at least. So yeah, I think that just depends on which one you prefer, which one you think is which one is better. So I like the
Yeah.
Smiler. I think that's again. I think that there is a little bit of it, uh, what I was stating with like complexity, because the eyes do kind of, like I said, in a sense form corkscrews, but I feel like it's so subtle that you don't even really, even if you don't notice it, it's just kind of a cool after the fact looking at it and going, oh,
Yeah.
those kind of do look like inversions. Like it's not like coaster
Very.
track or anything like where it's like trying to be like bam in your face. This is a roller coaster. Look, oh my gosh. So it's cool. It's very
It's got the
cool.
like subliminal like effect. Like you don't realize you're looking at it like a coaster logo, but in the back of your mind, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a roller coaster logo. Like you might recognize like, oh, maybe that is an inversion type of thing going on.
Yeah, and especially
So
once you go and once you understand that it's a roller coaster. Even if people like in England that saw the logo but they didn't understand it, once you ride it, you look back on it and you go, "Whoa, those eyes look like they look like some of the corkscrews that you do during the ride." So maybe, yeah, maybe that's what they were going for, like that. And then you're like, hmm. So then it's like it almost makes you more interested in the background and stuff, and makes you more interested in what the actual name and logo represent. So it's cool. It's good marketing. It's a good
for sure.
yeah, it's good marketing. All right, so the weekly poll for next week is the best park soundtrack. What we mean by that is the best music within a park. So walking around, what park gives you the best vibes from their music? You know, as much as I hate to say this could be going to your local like Cedar Fair Park and hearing the pop music blast. As much as I think
Oh,
that's really awful, some of you
oh
guys might
gosh.
might prefer that. I honestly don't know how, but some of you guys might. That's your opinion.
Ugh.
I prefer like I'm not gonna really give my example, but there are some parks where they're playing like themed music to their areas. Like, oh, we're in the old country. Oh, we're in Germany. Oh, we're in Africa. Whatever. You know,
Like, oh,
that's
this is an
cool.
older themed place. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that type of stuff.
And
Like
even
they'll theme the music to the area you're in.
some parks I know, like even in Europe, they do like soundtracks for different rides that they have. So maybe some people write in and talk about those. So just keep in mind what we mean by that. It doesn't mean like, oh, well, this park plays my favorite pop song, so I love this park. Like that's not necessarily what we mean. Try to think more of
But I
on the
mean,
lines
you
of
could like it.
you could. I mean, if you do,
Uh,
that's sure. But like, try to think. But that's not all that we mean. We don't just mean what park plays your favorite music. That could be it if you think about it, and that is your favorite, and you don't like other parks that do the themed music, then that's fine. But just so you guys know, just to clarify that that's not what we mean by that. Just just like so you don't just basically think on that level of thought. You can go deeper and think about, oh, well, this park
yeah.
themes their music, and this park does that and this. So that's what next week's weekly poll is in best park soundtrack. Write us in, let us know, and we'll share that on next week's show. Hopefully, Bob will be back, and we can share that, and me and Bob will have a bit of a discussion on that. All right, so thank you guys all so much for joining us this week. It was a long episode. It was a fun episode. I'm glad that we got through it, and I'm glad that although Bob was not with us, we did some good discussion, and I'm sure he'll be proud of us for next week. He'll be back, and
Yeah,
he'll be proud.
except for about that whole Twisted Timbers thing and
Yeah,
also the Candemonium thing and
yeah,
like some other
yeah.
things.
Probably a lot of things. You blatantly saying that he's wrong. He might not be happy about that,
Yeah.
but other than that, I think he'll be
I
proud that
mean,
we did a good long episode without him, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. So thank you guys all so much for listening to this week's episode. If you want to answer the weekly poll, which is again the best park soundtrack, go to poll. I always mess this up. You don't even have to record anymore because you're not gonna probably talk again
okay.
unless you
Yeah,
want
I'll
to
just
talk.
start
If you want
recording.
to answer the weekly
No.
poll. If you
Whew,
want to answer the
2 minutes
weekly
in.
poll, go to coachtalkpodcast.com/poll. If you want to follow us on social media, do so by going to Twitter at @coachtalk_pod. Or if you want to check on Bob and his analysis on the industry and also to see how he's doing, he'll probably give you guys some updates. Follow him at @coachtalkpod on Bonham.
Coaster Talk Bottom.
This episode, all right, I'm going to get it this time. If you want to answer the weekly poll, which is again the best park soundtracks, go to coachtalkpodcast.com/poll. If you want to follow us on social media, do so. Go to Twitter. Follow us at @coastertalk_pod. Or if you want to check up on Bob and his in-depth look at the industry and also see how he's doing with his COVID-19 situation and his family, he's going to keep you guys updated there. Follow him on Twitter at CoasterTalkBob. Facebook, you can check out at Coaster Talk Pod. Instagram's at Coaster Talk Pod. YouTube, again, we have reviews, we have analysis, we have vlogs. That is Coaster Space Talk Space Podcast on YouTube. So it is 3 words there. Contact the show with any comments, questions, or concerns by going to coachtalkpodcast.com/contact or emailing James at coachtalkpodcast.com or Bob at coachtalkpodcast.com. Thank you guys all so much for listening to this week's episode of the show. It was a lot of fun. Timmy, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys all on next week's episode. Holy shishi balls. That was a long episode. I mean, we've done.
No,
I say that every week, though. I mean, we do. For some reason, we're on the trend of doing very long episodes.
I can't wait for like the end
I
of
don't
next
think.
year when they're like 5 hours long.
Oh God, I'm not turning it into a loop. They do like 3-4 hour shows, and I'm like, oh my god. All right, guys, on the live stream. If you guys stuck with us, I don't know if any of you did. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, Bob will be back next week, guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that without
Yeah, hopefully.
Bob still, but if you didn't, he'll be back next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Say bye, Timmy.
Bye, Timmy. A classic.